right, finally, we're live. Got it all. Welcome, Clayson and Andrew.
Yeah, you need a nerd squad.
I know, man. I know. These guys, they don't work for free, man, for real. And they all just went on winter break, and they just kind of throw it on me, and I do not know my way around the electronics, dude. Just know my way around the clothes. You feel me?
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get into it, man. What has brought you guys all the way to New Sun? It is December 2024. Now we're heading into 2025. You guys feeling locked in?
Yeah, definitely locked in. I mean, especially with a newborn.
If you have to move that, by the way, you could probably adjust the arm. Start moving it around. There you go. So you can talk right into it like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I got a newborn now, so she's like a week and 2 days old.
Dope.
So that's like a completely change of attitude, I guess, towards life. You know, I feel like all of the hard work that I've been doing over the last couple of years has been like my biggest fear in life is not being able to provide for the people around me. Mm-hmm. Right. That's like kind of like the number one thing that makes us men is that we can provide for the people around us. And so like being a single young, kind of bachelor life, like, I've never really had to support anyone. And, I've always worked towards, one day I'll have to support people that I bring onto this planet. And now like, here we are. It's like,
yeah. How did you find out? How'd you guys come to find out? Did you kind of see it coming or?
So at the time I was at Solar Pros. I left New Sun for like 6 months and went over to Solar Pros. I was working in Florida, and my wife at the time was living in Arizona. And she I had just finished a blitz, and she texts me and she's like, you gotta come see me. Are you gonna fly out here this weekend? It was like short notice. She was just like, I need you to come out here and see me. And it's like, usually we plan trips to see each other because we were long distance at the time for the 6 months, making it work.
From where to where again? You were in Florida?
So I was in Florida and she was in Arizona. And,
oh, wow. That's pretty far.
Yeah. So we were, and it was only for 6 months though. Cause like before that I was in California and her family's in California and I was working at New Sun. So like the commute from Arizona to California is only a 4-hour drive, and she was only there for school really. So she planned on moving back to California after that year of being in Arizona. And, I ended up in Florida, and so I finished the blitz, and she texts me, and at the time I'm not thinking anything of it. She's like, hey, I just really need you to come see me. Like, I'm freaking out. I need you to come see me. And I'm like, well, what is going on? Like, like, okay, I'll come see you. I don't know why you're freaking out. I'll book a flight and come see you right now. So like, I'm thinking nothing of it. I have no idea what.
No suspicion?
Yeah, no suspicion.
I mean, making you fly out of nowhere?
She's just like, I need you to see me. I'm emotional right now. Like, I need you. She's like, I need you here right now. And I'm like, just trying to be a supportive boyfriend, supportive husband, or, I guess we were just dating at the time. But, so, I'm like, okay, I'll fly out there. I'll come see you, sweetie. And, I get out there, and she's like just bawling her eyes out. And I don't know why. And she's just like, and we get to her house, and she hands me a picture that's a framed picture of me and her, and on the back of it says like "Love, Dad" or something like that. And then she hands me like a piece of baby clothing, and I'm like, I almost at the time, like, I look at it, I'm like, this has got to be like an April Fool's joke. Like, I'm like looking at it here, like, are you for, like, is this real? Are you messing with me or whatever? And then she's like, no, this is legit. This is like I'm not messing with you. And I just got like super, super excited. And it was like, holy cow, like, this is happening. And then like this whole year has just been like preparation for bringing the baby into the world. Like, setting up the nursery, just moving out here and getting the apartment set up. Like, this year I've moved. I moved from Florida out to Moreno Valley. And we were in Moreno Valley.
Oh, I hate that place.
Yeah, we were in
the bittersweet.
Yeah. We're in the company housing. Yeah. And then my wife is in Arizona, so I had to move myself from Florida all the way to California. Then I had to go get my wife's stuff from Arizona and move her into Moreno Valley with me. And then right after that, like 2 months later, short notice, I had no idea the offices were splitting up. And they're like, oh, no, now you're going to Santa Ana. And so now I'm like, holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
So then I have to like out of nowhere, short notice, find an apartment in Santa Ana. But I mean, it all worked out because like I needed to find an apartment of my own anyways. And I needed to be,
So not company housing?
yeah, so it's not company
Oh,
housing,
that's
but
good.
when I was in Moreno Valley, me and my wife were staying in company housing together, which is a blessing. Shout out to New Sun
For real.
for that. Like, yeah, so we were like, we got to find our own place. It's got to be more sustainable than just company housing, especially like I can't expect New Sun to like, you know, house my entire family. You know what I mean? And we make enough money to where I should be able to comfortably be able to do so. So, we did that, but yeah, like moved 3 different times this year. And dude, whatever I can do to pay somebody to move my stuff for me next time I'm doing, because I like swear up and down, I'm not doing the labor again. Cause like, dude, that unpacking and packing is so stressful.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, we moved from Riverside to Palmdale.
Yeah.
I thought I had a lot of stuff then. Then we came here and there's like no fridge, no microwave, and then like literally from the ground up, everything. I'm like, if we move again, I don't even want to imagine how much furniture is involved.
How long have you both been in door to door?
I've been in door to door since 2022. How about you?
This is my 5th year, so 2019.
It's crazy until like I kind of started a family. It's almost like
Which one? Speak real quick.
yo.
Okay, you're number 4. So let me turn your gain up. This will let you be a little farther from the mic.
Okay.
Just so I want. Yeah, you sound good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go ahead.
It's kind of crazy, like being in door to door. I feel like we all live like this nomadic lifestyle where we live out of a backpack and we
For
have
real.
no idea where we're gonna be next or like what's gonna happen. Like all of us, like tomorrow we could be in freaking Europe or like
Yeah.
we have no idea, but like everybody in the door to door space lives out of a suitcase pretty
Yeah.
much.
How many times you moved?
This year?
In general, like you got a lot of moving.
Oh,
in
yeah.
This job.
Yeah, for sure. This year 4 times.
Oh man.
So it's nice to be landed finally.
But you said you even been here before on a blitz.
I have, yeah. Well, no, we worked here out of, it was like 2021.
Oh.
So I worked here for 2 years in Lancaster, Palmdale.
You lived here in 2 years.
Well, I lived in Santa Clarita, but we commuted to
that's a
Lancaster,
good spot.
Palmdale. Yeah, so,
For 2 years.
yeah.
That's weird.
It is weird being back here for sure because I feel like I recognize a lot of the neighborhoods.
What's actually crazy? I mean, I got here Lancaster Palmdale in 2019 to do college, and so I lived here from 2019, kind of off and on semesters to 2021, and that's how I got introduced to door to door. I got kind of bait and switched. I got a guy offered a construction job, which both you guys were in before door to door, right?
Yeah.
I had so many friends from high school that were in construction. I was like, I want to jump into that. So my friend advertised it for $16 an hour, and I'm like, here's my go. And then I show up and I find out it's not construction. It's door to door for remodeling and construction. And I hated feel like I got lied to. But then I was like, dude, I think I'm good at it anyway, So I was like, I'm going to be good at door to door. But it was like hourly, and then you get 1% commission if it closes. And this guy never got a close. I still know where his business is. I don't like the guy.
I feel like that's also something that's infamous with the door to door world is like we've all in some way, shape, or form have been like misled through the recruiting process of like how we were going to get hired. And then we come out here, like I thought we were going to be in like these like apartments where they give me my own room and stuff like that. And then they have us housed together and I was sleeping on an air mattress and stuff. And like, I remember at first I was so pissed off because like, I didn't know what the opportunity was. But then like after you figure out how much money you can make doing this, dude, I don't care. I'll sleep on the freaking floor. You know what I mean?
It's crazy when you're starting to and you're like trying to imagine what it's going to be like. And it's so opposite of what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
because they sell you and they're just like, dude, you're a stud. You're going to come out. You're going to kill it. And then you get out there and it's just like, okay, you need to learn this pitch. And you need that. And then you're just like, and then you're kind of choking on your words.
Yeah. It's like a very top heavy pitch. Like you're only pitching someone on the results.
Right.
But the job itself, I mean, I try to sell people on the job itself because I feel like it helps retention. I try to tell people, and this guy Khalid. Do you know Khalid, by the way? Ibrahim Khalid from Florida.
No.
Oh man, that was my mentor in 2022. But he helped me change my mindset, and he was like, if you ever work hourly, you're letting another man put a price tag on an hour of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said an hour of your life. Someone puts a price tag on what an hour of your life is worth. And then every time, that's like my power line in recruiting. Just saying that because it got to me. And then he said, no matter how hard the job is, if you're on commission, you're the one who gets to put the price tag. Whether that's like that Bible verse I was showing, whether that's a poor man's price tag or a rich man's price tag,
Yeah.
I'd rather answer to my own work ethic, because then I think just growing, I mean, I kind of came up in a restaurant business, and there's so many bums in the restaurant that it like almost aggravates you how limited your paycheck is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's the same thing with construction too. Cause like, you know, and then we're also out there beating ourselves up in the sun, beating up our body. It's unreversible. Like you can't go back and like take back that time or take back, like my back is done for the rest of my life. Like I have nerve damage all the way down my legs.
You said you fell off a ladder or something?
Yeah. Like 25, 30 feet up.
Dude, no way. What happened, bro? What went wrong?
We were putting the trusses on a pole barn. So it was just the bones of the barn that were built up. Like we didn't even have walls on this thing yet. It was just like the skeleton of the barn. And we were putting up the supports to put the roof on the top of the barn. And I'm up there like connecting the trusses to each other, and the ladder just like slips slightly. And then I'm like literally hanging with one arm with a tool belt tied attached to my waist. I've got this tool belt with all these tools, and I'm like hanging, dangling, and there's nothing I can do because the ladder's already gone. But at this point, I have no choice but to just like, it's not like somebody can save me. So I just got to let go and brace the impact. So I just let go and let myself drop. Because like there's nothing they could do for me. It's like, how am I going to hold myself here?
Did people see you hanging?
Yeah, that nobody could do anything about it though.
Give them a chance to be like, all right, somebody catch me.
Yeah, or like they tried to get the ladder back up, but like my grip, like there's only so long you can hold on.
Dude, I think about that all the time. I'm like, how long could I actually hang before I would like lose?
Or like you see
strength?
those, like you go to a carnival or like the mall, and there'll be that guy who's got the pull-up bar.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, if you can hold it for like 3 minutes, you get $100 or something. You know, like
is it that hard?
It's harder because
you had weight,
belt.
yeah.
And then it's also like, this is real life. Like if I could die falling off of this thing, and thank God I didn't, you know. But like, bro, when I hit the ground, it was like the wind knocked out of me, and like, bro, it just felt unreal. It's like, holy crap, I can't get up. Like I literally could not get up. It was so bad. Bro, I don't wish back pain on my worst enemy. Like it's the worst pain in the world.
Yeah, that's an ocean nightmare.
Yeah.
Did you get paid for that?
No. This was some like, you hang out on the street corner and a white dude in a pickup van comes up and he's like, hey, I'll pay you $200 for the day kind of job.
No waivers, no contracts, full risk.
Yeah, just full risk.
Dang.
You know, you bring your own tools to the job site, and if you've got tools, you're probably getting paid that day.
Dang.
But, you know.
I don't even know what I was thinking when I did door to door going into construction, because that affects your do you have like restrictions on how much you can lift?
No.
Oh, so you still have strength in your back, it just hurts?
Yeah. Well, you're saying, I thought you were saying about like in the job, like
I'm saying like your limitations.
Yeah, so like
with
I used
pain.
to be able to deadlift. I don't touch deadlifts anymore, and I don't squat at all because of what it does to my back. It just like triggers it, and everything will get like a little bit more inflamed than it needs to be, and then the pain is like multiplied because I've done those certain types of workouts, and there's like certain stretches and stuff that you can do to like minimize the pain.
For sure.
But it's chronic pain, so it's like always there.
Yeah. I feel you, man. And I had an accident, but the thing is, it's crazy you can remember it, dude. That's I mean, do you like how much memory do you have of it? Is it like completely full
Oh,
memory?
bro, it's implanted in my brain.
Oh,
I
gosh.
remember every second.
Do you have any sort of PTSD from it?
No, I honestly, I'd get up on a roof right now. Like
Yeah.
I'll do it for.
Hang from it with one hand or no?
Oh no.
I'm just kidding.
but like if it helps me get a sale, like I'm like, hey, I'll go up and check out your roof right now, bro. There's been plenty of times I've knocked on a door and they pull out a ladder and I walk up on their roof, So, you do what you do to get paid.
Good. Yeah, my accident. I don't remember it, but I have that chronic back pain you're talking about. It's actually more in my hips though.
Yeah.
I had a 350Z in '04, like a high rev stick shift. It was such a fun car to drive, but I never ever changed the tires. I don't know if you guys have ever seen when tires, like the inside of them have like metal wires inside. You could see the metal wires coming
On the outside?
on the over the flat part of the tire.
Oh wow.
The tread or whatever. You could see the the skeleton of a tire in there. It was bad, but I was so broke as a college student. But I went home for Thanksgiving, and the day after Thanksgiving, November the 28th, I was coming back down the desert road from NorCal, where I'm from, and it had snowed. And I think it snowed here like in Lancaster like maybe 2 times in the last like 30 years. And it happened to snow that Thanksgiving. It was a blessing and everything. And even my wife, I remember she had a post on her Instagram. Most people in Lancaster have a post from that day because it snowed, and like on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, my 350Z lost control on just one of the little bumps in the road, and I rotated off to the right, and my driver's side chopped a telephone pole in half. And I was in the coupe, and man, you should hear some of the doctors that tell the story from the college that like they already called in a fatality, and then I was supposed to be dead. And I ended up. You want to know why I survived? Because I didn't wear a seatbelt. What are the odds,
Don't
huh?
tell me that, because I
know,
tell my
right?
wife all the time when she asks me to put my seatbelt on. I'm like, God's my seatbelt. They're like, and I say it jokingly because like,
Hey, he protected for real, because I can show you photos of the car. The whole car is crushed up to the center console on the driver's side. But I had like 3 bags of my laundry that I had done at my mom's house in the passenger. So I got launched into the passenger side into laundry, a bunch of bloody clothes. But I would have been crushed if I was inside the seat.
holy cow.
And my femur broke, bladder ruptured, hips broke. I have glass in my eye here, hand broke, I have scars here. But that back pain, dude, that's what sticks with me. It's right on the lower back. Like right that lower left side. And I mean, knocking doors, like if it's not hard, but like if you go like all day, dude, you feel it by the end of the day for sure.
It's just a blessing that we're able to do this instead of having to be forced to go back to like physical labor, or like, because I wouldn't be able to do it. I can't. I just can't. I
like when you said you don't do deadlifts, because same. I haven't touched a deadlift since. They're scared.
Bad for you.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Like,
I can't
even
handle
if you
it.
don't have back pain, like the doctors and other people, health professionals, they'll tell you like deadlift is like the riskiest workout you could ever do. Now, granted, it does have its benefits.
It's like the most beneficial, right? It like gets the whole body.
It's supposedly, but I feel like with all the risk that comes with it, like you do it one time and mess up.
It's true.
Then you're out for months.
You're Ronnie Coleman, dude.
Yeah,
that dude's on
exactly.
like pegs.
Yeah.
Are you on your way to Ronnie Coleman yourself, or what?
I need to start stretching more for sure.
What's your workouts look like? You do a lot of heavy lifts, free bars, or free weight?
Yeah. So I do like a chest and shoulders.
So why do you work out at night? Because I think, didn't I hear the polar opposite from you guys?
Yep.
Just now.
Yeah.
You're a morning.
I didn't hear him say this.
I think he was quiet because no, I'm playing. But you work out in the mornings only.
Yeah.
To get the day started.
Yep.
I've done both, and I prefer the morning. It's just harder. Like it's a mentally harder thing to do, but I feel like it's more physically rewarding. But then it's the opposite for the nighttime. Like I have more enjoyment mentally at night. I feel like I'm decompressing and I'm getting rid of it. But then like, I don't know. For me, it takes longer for me to get to sleep after getting active. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you've re-triggered your adrenaline.
Exactly.
And then you're wide awake again. When you go back to bed, you're like, crap, I'm supposed to be tired right
Yeah,
now.
because if you use pre-workout in a night workout, you're screwed. Help me, fill me in. How do you
I
work
don't-
out
I don't
with
use-
pre-workout?
I don't use pre-workout, but I
Oh,
like
really?
here it's different. There's 2 gyms here. So like
Mhm.
the morning time
Yeah.
to get everything I need to get done to actually feel like I just did my workout, like my routine, like it's just impossible. There's too many people because it's either in shape or crunch. So
Mhm.
at night it just works. It's better. Like
Oh, there's less people.
here, yeah. Like
Oh,
other
okay.
areas obviously when there's more gyms to choose from and you know, but here it's like there's the only 2 here. So it's like going in the morning you're gonna wait 40 minutes just for one machine and then
Oh yeah. I
Well,
do.
how early are we talking in the morning? It's not too bad if you're early morning. If you,
Luke
about you,
goes.
Luke?
Yeah, when do you go, Luke?
you're like an 8:30 guy, right?
8:30 to 9.
Are you waiting for machines?
No, it's not that bad. You
No.
know, and even if I do wait, it's only like a minute, 2 minutes.
Case closed.
It's really not. I was gonna say it's not horrible.
I could eat meat for sure, in my opinion. Way more packs.
I just think it's a great way
I
to start your
sleep
day.
bad too, so I just nighttime's nice for me.
Does it
but-
exhaust you so that you can sleep, or do
No,
you stay up late?
Like I just stay up late, so it's like
Oh yeah.
I will say
Yeah.
2 of the biggest dudes in Jungle U work out at night. So there's something.
Which
about,
guys are you referring to?
Spencer and
Oh, Spencer, my boy. Oh,
and-
Spencer.
2-turn Tim.
Oh yeah, that dude that's just a genetic anomaly
Wow,
of a
dude,
guy.
That guy's so jacked.
He's huge. He's like
Yeah.
DJ Metcalf, bro.
But I remember when I met Spencer, like I
Or
was
DK
like
Met-
I was
like
looking
that.
down at my phone and all I saw was his big ass arms. Like and he just like tried to dap me up and like when his hand hit mine, I like was like, holy crap, that's a big hand,
Bro.
And then I look up and I'm like, this guy's a giant.
Yeah.
Bro, like his arms are bigger than my
Dude.
freaking quads.
That's
You
how
know
I
what
just felt at the Cabo trip with Ray Lewis. They had Ray Lewis giving a speech and everything, and he's
I heard
only
that was awesome,
dude.
bro.
It was so
Praising
awesome.
God.
Yes,
Praising
he was
God.
preaching the whole time. It was so funny because they had Jeff Mendez come up, and obviously shout out to both these guys. They're both awesome. But Jeff Mendez literally goes, "I hear people say you can't buy time. That's false. You could buy time." And then literally, Ray Lewis gets up next. You can't buy time. I was like, we're gonna take his word for it. It was his suck, bro. Jeff Mendez, that guy. But no, like I saw, like Jeff Mendez was right before him, so he's kind of wrapping up his speech or whatever. And then I saw in the corner, he had like a white hat on with his head down on his phone, like almost had like a little wall of workers like covering him so no one would notice. I was like, he's right there. I knew it. He's in the back corner. I went to the bathroom, come out, and then they were looking off, and I just kind of skirted past them, and I just, hey, it's so nice to meet you. And he just like looked up, and he just looked at my hand, and he went to shake it, and it was like, bro, it was just like got swallowed. It was
Yeah.
insane. It was like someone put my hand in someone's bicep and just squeezed it, but it was his hand. It was
Really,
gigantic.
It humbles you because you go to the gym and you feel so big.
Yeah.
And you meet these guys, bro. They're just monsters.
Just tanks, bro. Literally got to be the most dangerous man on the planet for like all of the 2000s, bro. Like
yeah.
he's ginormous. You can talk about jiu-jitsu all you want. Then you watch a Ray Lewis hit compilation, you're like, dude, that's a scary guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he did it.
Bro. But that's the thing. He's only 6'1". That's pretty standard. Like that one guy you're talking about, two-turn Tim or whatever, isn't he like 6'4" or 5"?
Yeah, he's pretty tall.
Yeah, most athletes are like in the 6'5" or 6'6", and this guy Ray Lewis, he's pretty standard build, but he's just ginormous. Like everything is thick,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that could be another genetic thing, but I wonder how much is attributed from like the workout and the discipline comes from
So,
that.
like with you working out at night, do you do that when you're in your door-to-door routine too?
Yeah, I would say
So,
for the
like
most
you,
part, yeah,
you're going,
nighttime,
like, super late. then.
super late, yeah, like 11:30, 10, somewhere in there.
Dang, yeah. See, I feel like I'm old then. I go to bed at like 11. You know.
What? Yeah, well, it just depends on like what your schedule has. I think I only started going to bed when I got married, like early.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because also this early year I started up school again, and I had to be in Lancaster by 7 a.m. and so I had to leave Riverside by 5 a.m. So it's like I literally won't be able to function next day if I don't get in bed by like 11. So
Yeah.
that was that was a hard trial. Yeah, this last year's, I mean, I got to tell some sort of story on it and do like a video, but yeah, the jump we just took this January, it's definitely God's reward here that, you know, we've got like a no studio now. Show the whole studio, bro. Do the whole studio. You see this? This is the Lord blessing us over here. And it didn't start by like taking the easy road. It was literally like red eye nights. There was, I can think of 4 distinct nights where there was 0 sleep because not only was I coming home after a late night of work, I like had a paper or something due. You know, so I'm staying up to write papers.
Dude, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
It was bad.
I hate paperwork.
Yeah?
Yeah, I hate paperwork. That's why I only did like a semester of school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Just a junior college.
In Alabama?
Yeah, and honestly, my parents didn't pay for it, but they kind of forced me to go. They were like, "You're going nowhere with your life," like, and so I was like, "All right, fine. Maybe you're right. Maybe I am going nowhere. I'll try this just to make just so they can see that like I at least tried, right?" So like I go to school and it felt just like high school. Like I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. I don't know why I'm learning this stuff. Like I don't know. And then like I signed up for a second semester, and my second week of the second semester, I quit.
Oh, yeah. Second week of semester 2?
Yeah, second week
That's
of the
good.
second semester, I was just like, you know, I'm a college student. I'm making less money. I'm now living poorly. You know what I mean? Like so, like all these bad things that came out of it, and then on top of it, I don't know why I'm in college.
Right.
Like I don't know what I'm studying.
There's
for.
no like big goal.
There was no big goal. It was like just get started. You know what I mean? And so I was like, screw that. I'll go back to construction.
That's good.
So then I quit and went back to construction, and then the story unfolds from there.
I think I see that problem a lot, and people don't. I mean, you don't want to force someone to do something and they have no vision because you're just setting them up for failure. Like, you can't go into even this job and just hope you're going to do something. Like, you have to go in this job with a goal to like hit certain landmarks for yourself and then be a closer, build a team. You're just being here to be here. Like, it's very. It'll be very temporary for sure. Same thing with college. I hate that people are like, hey, just go there, and then they just think that someone's going to magically just desire to do a career.
Yeah. There's so many college students that are out there doing that, though. Like,
Yeah.
they're just in college to be in college. Like, they're not, it's not about the career path or anything. They're actually really just there to party,
Exactly.
honestly.
To like have a life experience out of it.
Yeah.
But it needs to be some sort of stepping stone. Just like people have this job as a stepping stone. I mean, once college is no longer a stepping stone, it's just like some stage of your life where, like you said, you're poor, you have no time management. I mean, it turns into a black hole.
Eating a lot of ramen.
Yeah, a lot of ramen, man.
Yeah. PB&J.
That's why you got to work those fast food jobs so that you can eat all the leftovers. That's what I did through college. I thought I was going to do security. Didn't do security. I started doing Domino's Pizza. You know, like I said, I did that door knocking job for like 2 months. And again, it was just another hourly job. It wasn't showing like the commission side of it, which is what I wanted out of sales. Like, I wanted a commission spike. I didn't find it. But it gave me the door-to-door experience, and there was no script. I was going out free balling, and my biggest day was 6 sets. So 6 sets on free balling, I knew I had it.
Yeah.
And then I just went a year doing pizza, and then that came to where I dropped out of college. Which is the only reason I'm back now. I just want to finish. You know, if the time I do have a child and start raising a family, I would just like a degree in my office, even if I'm not in a, you know, career that the degree gave me. Just having one, just having the bachelor degree right there, just for the heck of it, dude. At this point,
Yeah. I feel like once you get a certain in depth into college, like you kind of have to finish.
exactly. I just finished 2 years, so it's like 2.5 years. So I have 1.5 years to go.
Yeah, it's just a lot of time to put
Yeah.
into something and then you just give up on it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
almost like, you know, that's 2 years of your life right there.
It sucks, dude. Yeah. It sucks looking back. It was in 2019. I was 18. And now I'm 23, and I'll be 24 in February. So
Looking back on it, would you go back to school again? Would you do it again, or would you like?
well, I'm still in school, technically.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but like say like you finish this year,
Mm-hmm.
looking back on the whole thing, would you go back like back when you first started school and still do it? Or would you tell yourself, would you tell your old self not to go to college?
I think that's impossible to answer only because I met my wife through going to school. So I couldn't really imagine not meeting Lacey.
Yeah. Well, say hypothetically you still meet your wife, because fate is fate. Destiny's destiny.
Interesting. Wow. It's really deep, man, because that's a loaded question.
If God's plan was for you to meet your wife, you're going to meet your wife either way.
It's facts.
You know what I mean?
That's hard, man. There's a lot to it because the school I'm in, that I'm trying to finish, it's a Bible college, right? So it's not studying like careers, like it's not a trade school. It's literally studying Bible doctrine. You know, it's studying. I was studying how to be a pastor.
That's cool.
And that would be my degree, is pastoral theology. So then I could take that degree, theoretically take that degree with a lot of support and take over a church or plant one. That's always been my dream, is to plant a church and pastor, you know, but God directed my life here to solar. Like literally I dropped out of that school in fall of 2021, and then January 2022, which is kind of what's happening right now. They're going to break. They'll come back third week of January. And so then in the third week of January, I was like, decision time. Am I going back or am I done? You know, and I was like $2,000 in debt to the college for my last semester. And I just decided, I was like, dude, I am going to do sales. I had a buddy, one of my best friends in high school, his dad is a roofer. And he, just knowing me through my friend, he's like, Thomas, you're a great salesman. I think you'd be perfect. I want to start like a solar division in my company. I want you to run it. I want you to sell. But I didn't know how to sell solar. I didn't know anything about it. And so I told my friend who's in my wedding, his name's Dexter Tankeko, and he's an entrepreneur through barbers. And hold on, let me adjust my mic a little bit. My mic's a little down. Anyway, I told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to drop out of school. I'm going to do solar. I was like, I'm going to do solar. And then he goes, well, what'd you have it? This guy right after you with a haircut, his name's Nolan Dedelson. You should ask him for a job.
That's wild.
And then Nolan Dedelson walked in the barbershop in my hometown, Manteca. And yeah, he walked in and meant business. And I was like, hey, how you doing? Name's Thomas. I've done door to door. I was really good at it. I already been recruited to do solar. I kind of understand it. Heard you have a solar company. I'd like a job. And then all he said was like, are you for real? He's like, are you really about it? And I was like, yes. And he's like, you really about it? I was like, yes. And then he said, show up to the Tracy Mall, 11:30. The job is yours. I'm going to put you into two guys named the Silvas. They're your age. You're going to do great.
That's wild. That was like before Jungle U even had their own.
Yeah, there was two
space.
offices. Exactly. There was two offices at the time. I don't know if that's Dan Cavada or whoever, but I remember like Howie, for example, was in that office. He wasn't in the Jungle U. And so, yeah, I went and joined the Silvas. But I wasn't all in, dude. I was like still moonlighting Domino's delivery and stuff. So it took me about to quit to Vic pull me aside and he's like, you just need to like quit your other jobs and just do solar. And then I was like, let me take it a step further and move out of my mom's house and then move in your apartments. And then I took that a step further and proposed to Lacey. Then we took that a step further and came to Riverside as fiancés. And then, yeah, the rest is history. I was actually... This is a cool announcement. I'm just gonna tell Clayson and this guy because I really wanted to pick your brain about having a child because.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we started this job as boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
Then we got engaged, and then the very end of the year, 2022, November 5th, we got married. And I was saying, so okay, let me give you a scene. So we're in the meeting and Jeff Mendez is like doing like, what's your whys? My why has from day one been Lacey. That's it. My wife now. And then I just whispered Lacey, I was like, if he calls on me, I'm going to say it. If he calls on me, I'm going to do it. And then these guys have seen me start out as like just a 18-year-old with a girlfriend. No, a 20-year-old. What am I saying? I was 20. And then while we're packing for Cabo, yeah, a week before leaving, Lacey tested positive for being pregnant.
Dude, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats on that one.
I'm like reliving my whole year right now. Dude, you're about to be doing the same thing I did all this year.
That's what I want to know. Like, like how do you shift your priorities and like, bro, what does preparation look like?
Your wife stays the same. You know, It's always been your wife, and now it's just your wife and somebody else. I think what they don't tell you though about having a kid is that after the pregnancy or like once the baby's born, you're not just taking care of a baby because your wife's priority is taking care of the baby, like feeding the baby and stuff like that. But now you've got two people, bro. She just pushed a baby out of her. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like, dude, your wife is in distress. Her health is at risk. You know, she's got to be, she can't, most women don't like walk around and like, it's not like they can like push out a baby and then start doing jumping jacks the next day.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, you're not just taking care of a baby. You got to take care of two people. So, you know, you're in for a ride though, bro.
I'm excited, dude.
It's,
That's the first time you're finding out.
That is so funny because we had that psychology training. You remember that?
Yeah.
And there was like a pink and a blue circle.
And you started making a joke.
And I was like, Tom, you trying to tell us something? Like, and now you're actually.
I was like, oh, Clayson's onto something.
That's
bro,
wild.
it's so exciting.
You probably did that like subconsciously, not even knowing it.
I don't even know. I don't know if it's a boy or girl yet. I wish I knew.
Really?
I want it to be a boy.
How you said you literally found out like right before you left to Mexico, so like 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah. We
Holy
were packing
cow.
up for Cabo.
Holy
And
cow.
Lacey's like, I'm 1 day late. And I was like, I think we got a spare pregnancy test around here. And we tested it. And she didn't want to look at it. You know, she just like peed in a cup. And I was like, I'll do it. And I went in the bathroom and
Shoot.
it takes like 5 minutes for it to load. So that whole time, like just all this stuff's running through my head. I'm like, if it says yes, if this says yes, where am I going to be? And then it just says pregnant. And I was like, I got like all these butterflies and it was just like, whoa.
Yeah, dude, it'll handle itself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, and then like the plan will like come together. Like, dude, at the beginning of the year, I didn't have a plan. Still don't really have a plan on what's going on. Like, I have an idea of a plan. Have you seen that video of Trump when they're talking about? They ask him something about, I can't remember what it was, some kind of policy, and he's like, I have concepts of a plan. Like, I have concepts of a plan, but I don't have a solid plan. Like
I think he was just trying to, if I think about that interview correctly, it was like they were literally asking him to openly say like, how are you going to end a war? And he's like, it's like, why would he say that just openly? Like then it would defeat the purpose of having a plan anyway, that's a good point though. Like the whole spin was that he doesn't like know what he's going to do officially yet.
He's just got to figure it out. You dive in and improvise. And the way I look at it, it's like, dude, there's nothing you can do to prepare for a baby.
I know.
Bro, like you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You know, people can give you all the heads up that you want, but you're not going to figure it out until you're like balls deep into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like we've figured everything out so far in our lives by like just winging it and improvising. You know what I mean? You just got to keep winging it and improvising, stay sharp.
Yeah, I'm trying to I'm just trying to think back to all the examples I had growing up. Like, you know, you just kind of grow up with your mom and dad and they raise you. And it's like, what are like, trying to think how much of it.
It's crazy. Like you teach them how to speak.
Exactly.
Teach them how to
that's
like,
wild.
bro, like now I got to go back to school pretty much. I was just
Exactly,
talking about how I
right?
hate
That's
school.
a good point.
You know what I mean?
And you got to help someone get through their homework now.
Yeah, now I got to relearn everything I hated. You know what I mean? But I'm going to try and leave that all to my wife, you know, because she's in the medical field, so she went to college and did all that. So that's going to be her forte, not mine.
I'm trying to find that balance of like what to do and what not to do. Like what I know for sure I need to figure out early on is how I'm going to limit my child being exposed to like
Certain
phones.
Yeah.
Like phones and stuff. Yes.
Yeah,
Because
you don't want an iPad kid.
there's literally 5-year-olds that can get to porn, you know, like
Yeah.
because of how easy it is. You know, I remember like my leap into technology was getting like a DS, bro. And I was just like,
Yeah.
or that Game Boy. And I was like, I cannot believe I'm holding a screen.
Yeah. My first cell phone was when I was 16.
Same.
Yeah.
I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. So
I was
it's
also like a loser for not having a cell phone.
So was I. I got made fun of, but
Yeah.
my parents were like the type of people is like, if you want something that bad and it's not a necessity, you got to buy it on your own. So I actually bought a car before I bought a cell phone.
Oh, you're a savage.
Yeah. So
I had like a little tablet, but I mean, it was so big. Oh man.
you remember
back,
when you could like the flip phones with the SIM cards? I would get like in trouble with my family or like my parents. I would get not arrested, but I would get grounded, right? and they would take my phone away. But then there's always a spare flip phone somewhere. So you take the SIM card out, and take your phone away, you just put it in another one.
phone.
Yeah.
That's
But
funny.
I was even getting made fun of for having a flip phone because iPhones were a thing at that time.
Yeah.
16 years old,
Wait, how old are you now?
27.
Oh, okay. You're like 4 years ahead of me. Yeah. Well, that's pretty early on, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like
It
4
was
years
like-
younger than you, and as
yeah.
a 16-year-old with no cell phone, everyone had one. I was
Yeah.
really out of that loop, man.
Yeah.
But that
it
was
was
'cause-
probably harder for you than it was for me because like if you're 4 years behind me, cell phones were definitely a little
Oh,
bit
they
more
were.
popular.
They were. And the reason was because my parents raised us as Baptists and I was actually either a Christian school or homeschool all the way to 8th grade. And the only people I knew when I got to high school was people that were on sports teams because I would be on like the Little League sports teams and the travel ball teams. So that's how I met guys in the public schools. But I was like the one guy who didn't go to school with them. I was homeschooled,
Okay. That actually gives me hope though because my wife wants to do homeschool.
I
With
want to
our-
do
with-
homeschool as well.
Yeah,
I really
but
do.
my argument is our kid going to be like socially awkward? And obviously you're
Just
not
put him in
'cause you're
sports.
sales.
Yeah, just put him
Yeah,
in
so-
sports or find a good church because our church was about 300-400 members.
Yeah.
And so like all my social life was every Wednesday night for church and every Sunday morning and Sunday night for church as well,
That's
And so-
awesome.
Yeah, so we got to meet more people. And
Yeah.
then we had a big family. I'm one of 9 kids.
Holy cow.
So I got to meet my dad by 1. Hopefully if Lacey's up for it, we'll shoot for 10. So
Nice.
this is
You want 9 kids?
I'd like 10.
One
I just
step
said
at
10.
a time, bro.
Yeah, that's-
Dude,
Yeah, well, let's-
test run it. Test run the first one, bro.
That's
See how
why
you do.
solar needs to work out good because I got to be able to afford a
Yeah.
tribe.
Everyone's always laughing at me for saying 5. 10's ridiculous.
Yeah, my dad has 9, so
Ah.
someone's got to beat him
Wow.
I think I'm going for 2,
too.
and then I'm snipping them.
I just want to. Well, that's
That's,
crazy.
Yeah.
Snip him.
My older brother, already did it.
My
He
dad
hasn't
did
even
it.
had a kid yet. But like,
Oh,
even if
no.
you snip it, it's not irreversible. Like they can untie it.
What's the point even?
Is the tube tying irreversible?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it is.
You can reverse it. Like so, you can tie it to make sure that you never get,
It's
pregnant.
like re-stripping wires.
For the girl though, if she ties her tubes, it's not
She can't.
reversible.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not irreversible.
I think they're stripping something out when they do that.
Yeah,
like they're
they t-
removing.
Yeah, I don't know the like scientific terms behind it, but I do know like for a woman to not get pregnant and her to do the operation to get fixed like that,
Yeah.
it's they can't go back. But for a male, they
It's more
can go back.
drastic.
My girlfriend in high school's dad actually got snipped, and they still had a baby out of it. So
Yeah,
What a savage.
be careful with
He
that.
just pushed
No,
through.
like he got snipped, and
Yeah.
they- like he didn't. Like,
Still had
A
something
baby
left
still
in
got
the
still
through.
had a baby. Yeah,
That's
so.
a champ. Whoever that baby turned out to be.
They
What a
didn't-
champ.
They didn't tie the knot tight enough on the tube.
That's funny, bro. I don't know if they did they singe it. I don't know,
Put the
but
red-
if they
red-
can
red
redo
wire,
it.
That
black
probably
wire.
pissed him off.
Oh
No.
yeah, dude.
I
I
bet.
remember. It was hilarious. He was a funny kid. No, I was gonna say this though. With having kids, like, you guys ever think about like how, I don't know what your relationship with your parents were, but like when you'd get with your friends' parents, do you feel like you could like open up to them a lot more? You know what I mean? Like if you guys were doing like crazy stuff, or like it's really not crazy, but to your parents, they would have been like, really, you know?
My parents were really, really strict. And
Okay.
so like every parent outside of my parents were like in my head
Chill.
were like the chillest people on
Right.
the planet. Like bro, like when my parents would ground me, they would ground me for like a year. And like you get out of school and if you're grounded, you got to go immediately up to your room and the door's locked behind you. Like that's how crazy my parents were with their I was raised Southern Baptist. You know?
I was raised Baptist. There you go.
So like Southern Baptist in the South, like
Yeah.
my parents were a little strict.
Uh-huh.
But that like yeah, you're right. I definitely opened up to other people's parents a little bit more than I
Right.
did to myself.
So I've always just tried to think like, how am I gonna be that for my kid? You know?
Yeah,
Well, what do you mean opened up? Like say the bad things you
Just
do?
not really bad though. It's just like if I were to tell my mom like in high school, like,
that you drank?
no, not even that. Like I was a pretty good kid, but like if I were to say like we you know, like toilet papered this person or something. Just very small things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were bigger than that probably, but like I feel like there was always a consequence.
Right.
But like when I would vent to my friends' parents, they were just like, haha, yeah, you guys are funny. Like that's just, there was just a lot more chill. Like obviously they can't get me in trouble. So I felt a lot more.
Yeah.
I feel like there's two different
Comfortable.
types of parents, and the one type is like, I'd rather allow you to do something in front of me than do you go and do it
Right.
behind my back, to where they allow certain things in the home. Because like I'm sure we all grew up with that one friend whose parents let them drink at a really young age, but they had to do it in the house.
Right.
Right. And like, it's either you were exposed to that kind of parent, or you were exposed to the kind of parent who, like, if you do this, you're a heathen. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah, oh, you're such a bad kid. You know what I mean? And my parents were those kind of people. They were like, you're such a bad kid. So I feel like, you know, I'm not going to let my kids drink in the house or anything crazy like that. But I definitely am going to be a little bit more chillaxed than my parents were.
Yeah. Well, my perspective on that, well, at least from my experience, it really came down to what my parents believed. So you guys got to know what their motive is. Like, why do you think your parents were strict? What did they want to achieve? And so I know that what my father wants us to achieve is for us to find faith in the Lord, because it's not like they're just making rules just to do them or keeping us from trouble just for the sake of just to be dictators. So it's like, I personally don't want my child to get into a crowd that would leave his whole life astray and end his life early, you know?
Yeah.
So there is definitely a balance. I remember when I was young, my dad was on par with it, and I got to instill what he did, but he used to beat us, and when I say beat, I mean a good kind of beat, you know? Like it was never in the house anywhere but their room. Like the business place to get disciplined was their room. So if like you got in trouble, it was go to my room, which is so smart. Like you don't get hit or anything out in the like living room in front of your friends, but it was like go to the room. It's embarrassing, but that's where you go. Then we line up in front of the closet, you know, and then we would have to say what we did wrong. That's a big part of it, you know, because it can't just be like false accusing. Kind of like when you go into a courtroom, you know, you have to like stand a trial and you have to be proven guilty. So you have a chance like either say what you did wrong and discuss it. And you messed up. And so then you get beat. And then afterward, this is when I was younger. Afterward, I mean, always my dad would say, I love you afterward. And then afterward, yeah, we would just say, I love you. And I remember when I was like a child, I see my dad cry a couple times. And the only time I saw my dad cry is when he whooped me. It was crazy.
My dad did that same thing.
Yeah,
When
see
he'd
him
whoop
tear
me, he'd
up.
cry.
He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
But the reason is this Bible verse right here in Proverbs. He that spareth his rod hateth his son. That's strong. If you spare your rod, you hate his son. But he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. And that's huge, because it's like the only person who loves your kids enough to put them in their place is you. Because I see, like you mentioned, like you go to other friends, like, oh yeah, you guys do whatever you want. I mean, at the end of the day, it's because they don't care about you. They could care less if you get into trouble.
Yeah.
They could care less if you get arrested. You're not their problem, you know.
Exactly.
But for your parents, you're carrying their name. You know, they carry your name. Just like every time, if you read Proverbs, like a foolish son, it always goes back to how it reflects on the mom and the dad. Anytime you see a kid acting out, you always think, well, how were they raised? It's really ones that are raised with love, which is a lot of discipline. I think that's how people get as far as possible the right way. And that's what I want for my son. But they have to know. I was actually getting counseled by my pastor. He says, one, his kids will never get hit by his hand. His hands are for love. But the kids will get hit, like the Bible says, by a rod, by a stick. So it's like the discipline is separated to like in the bedroom, and there's a specific tool to be disciplined when you need it. And let me tell you about that. Your dad's ever make like paddles and stuff?
Oh yeah, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Go and pick your switch out of the backyard. Like, which stick do you want?
He
me to
said,
use?
"Pick your stick."
Yeah.
That's good,
Yeah,
bro. Dude, my dad had a belt, and it's a Tommy Hilfiger belt. And oh my goodness, he looked at me and he goes, this belt has your name written on it. And the buckle says Tommy. And I'm like, bro, the mental stress was so bad.
You remember that age time where it like almost was like it's time for you to stop getting punished physically.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like 16, 7, or not 16, probably a little bit younger than that.
I think mine was like 14.
Yeah, but then you like the beatings also don't hurt as bad, so then you have to pretend that they hurt. So
Really?
Yeah.
You're
I don't know
blessed.
if y'all ever did that, but like there would be times where like my dad would think he's beating me a little too hard, and if I didn't act like I was hurting, then he would have just kept beating on me. You know what I mean?
gosh.
Like so, like you just pretend. You know?
Yeah. That's always a distinction.
It sounds so abusive.
Well, that's something I
It
debated
does.
my dad. I was like, the Bible says a child, and I'm like, that's where we need to draw the line. When are you no longer a child anymore? Because
Yeah.
if you're, there needs to be a line. When you're a young man, that's probably around 15, I think.
Yeah, well, the Jews literally have a title for it.
What is it? Is it?
I can't. I think it's 16. You become a man.
Yeah, it's in those teenagers, which makes sense because I mean, at that point, it's like your son's getting to the point where he could like theoretically fight back. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like you need to train them in the adolescent stage, and if they can't get out of it by then, something was wrong in their heart. But I want more than anything, I want to see all my children in heaven with me, and it's like literally again the Bible says you chasing your son, you save his soul. So it's like if you're thinking when you bring a child into the world and their soul is on the line by the example you set, it really, I think, because beating is so traumatic, you remember that more. But I think what's going to stick out more to the child is what the good that they see you do.
The lessons you learned out of it.
Yeah.
You know.
And aside from the discipline, like, what do they see you do in your everyday life? How do you speak to your wife is going to be huge for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to yell at her or argue with her or cuss at her in front of them at all.
Bro, that one hits me hard because like raising a girl too,
Mm-hmm.
the way my daughter sees me treat my wife is
Right.
the way that is the example that I'm setting for her for how a man should treat her.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so it's like now there's even more pressure on me to be a good husband. I don't struggle with it or anything like that, but like it definitely brings on the pressure and makes it hits home a little bit harder than it usually would.
That's right. Yeah. Cause like they won't have any example on what life is other than from what they see from you, especially
Yeah.
in those formative years. What a
Yeah.
voice sounds like when it's loving, what a voice sounds like when it's stressed, the facial expressions you make, they're going to mimic that. And that's what's kind of cool with families too. When you get around families, they kind of have like almost like when I see this guy and Gideon together, or if you would see me and some of my siblings, like they make the same facial expressions.
Mannerisms.
Yeah, mannerisms. That's the word. And that's something that families share. But it's literally because your whole concept of reality is just built around whatever's going on inside your house.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's the beauty God gave us. It says that like God put men a ruler over families in a home. And that's what a lot of people are saying is wrong with our country is that they're the whole point of like, if you want to talk about like, like tinfoil cap, like what is the spiritual goal of demons and stuff? It's to keep people from heaven. And what's the biggest way to keep people from heaven is to have people lose faith. Well, how do people lose faith? It's when you don't have fathers that are instilling the faith in their families. That's actually what the Bible says. I think one of you just said it. You said that like our job, I think it was you, or you might have said it downstairs, but it's like our job as a man is to provide for other people.
Yeah.
And the Bible literally says that a man who doesn't work to provide for his family is worse than an infidel. Worse than an infidel is like literally like a traitor. And it says he has denied the faith. Denied the faith. Such a steep accusation just for men who are not willing to provide for families, because that is like your one job as a man.
Yeah.
Is to be the provider. And if you're not a provider, then your family doesn't have a moral code. They don't have a moral structure. They don't have the family. They don't have support. It's really on us to shape society by having a family that they have someone to look up to in you.
Yeah.
And to lean on. So that's so important though, like how you're saying, like, I do want my kids to come to me. I want them to respect me. I want them to be very open to me, but I would hate for them to think they can throw their life away in front of me and I would not care enough about them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when they mature though, they'll come around, even if they're really rebellious about it in the beginning, like I was. I'm sure. I don't know what was your guys' rebellious stage? You guys have one of those?
Bro, mine was really long.
Oh yeah.
All through high school, I was bad.
Yeah, I was bad. I was a bad kid. Really bad kid.
Do you guys feel like you had a come around moment? Has this solar helped you guys like kind of reflect back to what your parents did for you or show any of
I
that
was
back?
just moving away from home and then like being able to sit in your thoughts a lot more, or just like traveling back and forth and like thinking like, dang, like I really was hard with my parents, you know?
Yeah, and then also like once you get to a certain age, you're responsible for your own actions. You know what I mean? Like when you're a kid, like you're not really responsible.
Yeah.
Like like you know what I mean? Maybe a little time out or you get grounded for a week, but like it's not big boy responsibility. Like if you really mess up, like these are the actual consequences. Whereas now as men, you know, like we mess up, it's like these are big boy consequences, you know.
Right.
So it's like now, you know, I see why my parents were punishing me the way that they were punishing me, because the way the world will punish me is a lot harsher than what my parents are doing in reality.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, and I feel like also this job, you know, being leaders and with the reps that we have, it kind of prepares us to be better men and better fathers as well too.
I
Because
agree.
like we have to be a good example to the men around us and show them how to be men, and then also, you know, show them what's right and what's wrong, as they're like making money. Because I feel like a lot of people in this job, they'll be like this degenerate that ends up making a ton of money, and then they blow all their money and make a ton of bad decisions.
Happens
And-
all the time.
Yeah, bro. And then they end up falling off almost every single time. They don't last very long.
How do you think we could mentally prepare someone for success? I was very close to having, like, when my guys were asking questions, they were all kind of asking like, what do you do when it's not going well, you know? And I think a lot of them are doing well, but the ones asking that, mainly they had like a really good moment, and then like this is kind of like not a slump all the way, but it's kind of like a dip.
The solar coaster.
Exactly. Or like one of them, like Damien, he literally like last week or the week before or something, he just got like the biggest check of his life. He got like over 3K.
Yeah.
Yet it's goodbye. You know,
Gone.
he's not
Yeah.
like what it was when it hit his bank account. I don't know what it's at specifically, but he was asking that, you know, and it's like, I think the question to ask is before that's a fruit issue to a root issue. The fruit issue of losing money is because you have a root issue of like, how are you using your money? And I really wonder, like, what do we need to mentor our guys to react to when you are successful and you do get a lot of money? What's the next step after that? And I think that's my mystery question, is like, what do
I think for you, like if you were in Damien's position and like you didn't have like a girlfriend or a wife, like what would be like the, you know what I mean? Because like your mentality is a little different.
because we're in different like life
Right. And so like
stages.
you have to like think of like the next stage for, you know, like for him, he's just barely started to make this kind of money. So for him, when he's getting paid, it's like he's almost going to have to keep making the same mistake to be like, okay, like I want a difference for myself. Because right now he wants a difference for like his life in general.
Mm-hmm.
But for like the money part of it, it's like he has to. I get it to an extent, just because like I used to do good and then
Ball out.
and buy a vehicle
weekend.
and then like I have that, and then like instead of putting that money towards a property or something that's actually gonna last, it's just like status, right? I want to drive this. I want people to know that I'm successful. I want you know, and so I think for him too, it's the same thing. Like he's just gonna have to learn to save to, you know, because right now his goal is to become
A closer. Yeah. You
That's
know,
his
I think
biggest goal.
I feel like I see what you just did. I think kind of leads to the answer to that question, is that when you do get the money that comes from good self-leadership, the best thing to wisely invest it so it doesn't waste is investing it in others.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the right answer to that is, when you do get the good surplus of money, at the very least, show somebody else the money that you just made and show them that they could have this opportunity too.
Right.
And then if you bring somebody else out, that's going to multiply. Because for me, I think what multiplied my money the most was just bringing out recruits and becoming a closer.
Right.
And I couldn't have gotten to that level if I hadn't worked my way as a setter, so I could bring people out in confidence and say, no, through the good and the bad, I will lead you. I will show you how to get, you know, that paycheck.
Because how can you recruit if you're broke?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And all the guys, like, they're like, how do we recruit? It's like, dude, it's actually like, show your checks, there is housing, weekly checks, you know, great trainings, 15 to 3K a week, you know, spots open now. And if you show your proof and the money there, and then when someone texts you, what are you going to say? I just made this. I just made this. I worked this. I worked that. I mean, people are going to believe your story. But when people don't have that story, you know, they're not in the mindset to lead yet. So
I think also having a fear of going back too, like when they finally do make that money, they should be, you know, putting it somewhere to where they know like this opportunity could fall apart tomorrow, like literally.
I think about that sometimes.
Like, bro, I think about it every day.
Yeah.
Like this opportunity could literally fall apart tomorrow, and then we can't go walk outside and make $3,000 in a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what am I going to do if it were to fall apart tomorrow? Am I prepared for that day? You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, the fear of having to go back to construction and being broke and living paycheck to paycheck. Like, I've set up a system with my finances at this point to where that'll never happen ever, ever again. You know, like the right investments, the right accounts, you know what I mean? And put money in places to where now it's kind of like an insurance policy for my life.
Right.
Is that what you have? Insurance policies and stuff?
No, I honestly, I think insurance policies are like life insurance policies. I think it's kind of a scam.
Well, give me some advice then. Like if you're open to sharing it, like
So
what you invest
honestly,
and stuff.
shout out to Connor Murphy. Connor Murphy knows more about this stuff than I do. But like even Robinhood, the app, if you put your money in there, you get 5% back a month, like every single month.
Like just like as a bank?
It's a savings account. It's literally a savings account that pays you interest. So
really,
yeah. So it's like
wow.
You got to keep this concept of how do I beat the bank? Because if you just put your money into a regular account, that bank is borrowing your money and loaning it out to credit card companies, and they're making tons of interest off of the money that you're holding into their account. Or you can put it into an account that's a little bit more inconvenient to get your money out of. You know, you may have to wait 3 to 5 days to get the money out of it. Say you do need the money, but it's like actually doing something. And now you're allowing these companies to use your money as credit, and they'll pay you back interest off of all of it. Or like you can find investment portfolios like Jeff Mendez. He does all kinds of stuff where you buy in, or like there's these short-term loans you can do to small businesses where they have a contract where they have to pay you back within a certain amount of months with X plus interest. And then,
really?
Yeah, like there's all kinds of cool stuff out there. But I'm really personally, I'm kind of retarded when it comes to finances. So I always like try and find an expert of some kind and be like, yo, dude, what do I need to do with this money right now? Because I'm scared. Like I remember when I had my first 100K in my bank account, and I'm like, holy crap, I've never seen this much money. I'm gonna mess it up. Like, and so like I called like the richest dudes I know, and I was like, what do I do with this money? Where do I put it? And then I just put it somewhere and forgot about it. You know what I mean? So like now I have like 3 or 4 different accounts that have thousands and thousands of dollars in, which it takes forever. If I wanted to access the money, it would be like this whole hassle of me getting the money. Whereas rather than me like falling back on those savings accounts that I have, like that are making money itself and eventually will build up to be like, you know, $1 million accounts, hopefully, you know, rather than being able to pull that money out, I'm like, okay, now I need to go make more money because all my accounts are in these savings accounts. I'd rather not pull that out. I got to go make excess.
So if you don't mind me asking again, how does that money get there? Are they like lump sums you put in, or do you like
Lump sums?
So when you get a paycheck and it goes to your account, do you have like a CPA, or like are you automatically strategically starting to distribute the wealth, or like?
Yeah, I try and distribute it. So I actually empty my bank account like every month. And try and keep it to where there's only like a couple thousand in there as like a safety net. And then I also have an account that has enough money to last me throughout an entire year.
Oh,
so
that's
like
cool.
right now I know exactly how much it would cost for me to pay all of my everything that I need to live. I know exactly how much it costs for an entire year. And I have that in a savings account. That's what I have access to. Say there's an emergency. I have access to that money, and then everything else is dispersed into accounts that take a while for me to get the money back. Like Robinhood, I think it takes like a week. Say you needed to pull the money out of it. It's just a savings account, but it takes a little bit longer than your basic, you know, bank account to get the money out of. So it's like if it's harder to get access to the money, the likelihood of you accessing that money is less likely, you know?
I like that. Yeah, I like that because it kind of prevents you making like some knee jerk decision, a faithless decision.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, have some faith in God. And I like that you were saying that down low, over there.
Yeah.
And you were just saying, look, at the end of the day, have faith in God. He's gonna provide. And yeah, that's all I've been able to run on so far. I just got the CPA. That guy Tyler. Shout out to McNabb. But I mean, now we have an LLC for the iron mill. But
Hell yeah.
I have not jumped into doing like a bunch of different accounts yet.
Yeah.
I just don't know if
It's a lot of complex stuff, but if you can't understand it yourself, there's somebody you can pay to do it for you. So, you know, you don't have, you can pay somebody a cut to let them handle the money for you.
yeah.
I'd hit up Connor Murphy, man. Like, he got me set up with this one account. Over the last month, it's done 8%.
Like on a stock in Robinhood.
So basically what they're doing is they're trading currencies. So say something happens to the economy in the United States, my account doesn't get affected by it because they can trade it over to pesos or like pounds. You know what I mean? So they're trading these currencies, and they strategically make sure that they avoid crashes in the market and stuff like that. And so like they average anywhere from 4% to 8% a month on these accounts. So say you put $100,000 into an account, say it averages 4% a month at the end of the year. I mean, how much money is that? Let me see.
And this is through Robinhood?
No. This is the guy I was telling
Portfolios
you.
and stuff?
Yeah, the portfolio guy.
And Connor Murphy. Dude,
Yeah.
we need to get another pod with you and Murphy on here.
Yeah.
We almost had Murphy and you on here
Yeah,
once
I
upon a
remember
time.
that.
We got
I
to make it
remember
happen, bro.
So like say you have 100,000 times 1.04. Oh wait. Times 1.04.
It should just be 104,000, right?
Yeah, in 1 month you made $4,000.
Yeah.
So times 12 months. It won't do it right now. You know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
That's
you know?
exponential, man.
So, you know, I started with 10 grand because it's like, it's also scary. To
Yeah.
put like, especially when you don't understand these like investment accounts and stuff like that. And they use a lot of terminology that you don't know. Like, I'm kind of like dipping my toes in the water right now. Like, I have like, I don't have any crazy accounts where I have a ton of money in them. But I have like counts all over the place. I have like 10 grand here, 20 grand here, 30 grand here, you know, stuff like that to where it's kind of dispersed. You know,
That sounds smart.
and then people also buy real estate too. But I've had my own experience about real estate, and you also need to know the real estate market and how like is the property rentable, you know.
That's what I wanted to. I want to try getting some sort of real estate.
Yeah.
And I kind of hear the same thing about that. Like, you need to know your market. You need to know your tenants. You need to know.
Is it
there's
like
so
a
many
vacation
things.
area? You know what I mean? Like, I bought my house in Alabama. Nobody wants to go stay in Alabama for a weekend.
For
you know what I
Airbnb?
mean? Yeah. Like, nobody's renting out an Airbnb in Alabama. So it's like, I'm looking more for, you know, a tenant to live there year round. And tenants, like Airbnbs, you make more profit on every single month.
Okay.
Whereas, like,
That's what I've heard.
yeah.
Yeah, because you could charge like $200-$300 a night.
yeah.
And I mean, you book a week's worth of someone staying. You've gotten a month's worth of your mortgage and profit back.
Yeah. One weekend pays the whole mortgage.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas,
It's
like,
huge.
if you're renting it out to a tenant,
Yeah.
you know, you may make like $300-$400 a month off of them living there, and really the reason why you're renting it out is just to cover the mortgage cost.
Yeah. I just hear a big thing about Airbnb risking is like
They could burn
damage.
the house down. you
That's
know?
what it always is like the damage that they could put to it. But
Yeah.
and then that also just comes to like the fact that, you know, you have Airbnb like reviews and stuff that they leave on people. I'm thinking about that. I also like what the Silvas just did with supercars. Like, I wonder, off of the cost of the supercars, I'll have to ask them, but like, when do they break even on a supercar that they're renting out, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I wonder how long that takes, how long the maintenance on the cars is.
It's definitely interesting because I also had a friend in Alabama who was renting his cars out,
Mm-hmm.
and it went terribly wrong for him. But for
They
the
get
Silvas,
stolen?
No, they just got totaled, damaged, stuff like that. But like if you have the right insurance and stuff like that, I'm sure the Silvas have thought of everything because it's working out for them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like actually
And
profitable.
they just got started too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of my mentors, he told me about this thing called Toro. I don't know how relevant it still is.
That's what my guy got. My homie
Really?
back in Alabama got
Well, because
screwed on.
I've got this Honda Civic, and I think it's already crossed 200,000, but it runs great. I've done very regular oil checks. It can go really, really far, and I'm like, I want to look into getting a truck, and I'm like, I might only be able to trade this thing in for like 7 or 8,000, maybe 9, and I'm like, is that even worth giving the car away, or what if we just start making our money back by putting it up on Toro and people who just take it cross country?
That's a good idea.
I'm debating it. You
Yeah.
know, I'm just trying to see what are little ways to make my money back on stuff.
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm
Rent
not
it to
gonna
the
lie. Like,
setters that don't have a car.
Say it again.
Rent it to the setters that don't have a car.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get my money from that for sure. Not worried about getting totaled. This dude's been in an accident while he's worked for me. My cousin's been in an accident while he's worked for me. Everybody just hits stuff. No offense, I'm not gonna drop your name. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Anyway, or I'm thinking about businesses. So like the guy that I said introduced me to Nolan, he is like no longer a barber. He like is a barber mentor, and he like helps guys grow their social media pages. And my idea is I would like kind of like how the Jungle U, they did Jungle Exotics, and that's not even solar, but they retained the brand name.
yeah.
So hopefully we could take this iron mill, and it's marketable enough to apply to different
I
businesses.
feel like you could make a really cool like Christian clothing brand out of that logo.
We have our. I'm proud to announce we got hoodies coming and we got hats coming
That's
with that
cool.
on it. It's cool. I'm thinking we could have an iron mill gym and an iron mill barbershop. Those are the two businesses that I'm looking to get into. I wonder how profitable a gym is. I can only imagine. I've seen a couple hole in the wall gyms that do really, really well. Some people really like that atmosphere where it's like no saunas, no
Dude,
pools.
some people now too are turning their garage into
Right.
a gym
And they do some
renting it out.
That's
Like
why
they-
we're going to need you for, bro. You're going to have to run some classes. You know what I'm saying?
Some fitness classes.
Yes.
What do you bench? Do you even bench?
Yeah.
There's an argument on bench.
I can
People, I know some people who bench that are huge, and then I know other people that are huge that don't bench at all.
My max,
Oh, like The Rock.
Right? Yeah.
my max is like 345.
Oh yeah.
But I
you
can
got
get 315 like 6 times right now.
Whew. You on the way to 3 plates? Are you on 3 plates?
I'm on 3 plates.
Dude, that's crazy.
I just hit 3.
What else are you on?
No, I'm not on anything. But,
No, I'm playing.
So back towards the back stuff, I started researching like stem cells and stuff like that, and then I mentioned it to somebody in my my wife's family that I was like, oh yeah, next year I'm probably gonna go to Colombia and get stem cell therapy for my back pain, and he was like, well, you should, before you waste money on that, you should try peptides. So right now I'm doing a lot of research on peptides. But like my friend was like, dude, I had a miraculous recovery to where I don't have any nerve damage in my legs anymore. The back pain is completely gone. I'm like, I already ordered the stuff. Still doing my research and being like careful with it because I'm not like, peptides are something you can take orally or you can take it like an injection like steroids.
Well, what is it? I don't even know what that is. A peptide?
Do you know how to explain it?
I know what a peptide is, but it's like basically it's
It's regenerative like therapy. So like it's something that's injected into your blood that like helps like whatever the chemical structure is that rebuilds stuff faster inside of your body.
Is that white blood cells?
Yeah, you know how like a lizard can lose its tail and then regrow it?
Yeah.
That's basically what you're injecting into yourself.
yeah.
I hear that's like what stem cell stuff is.
That is, but this is like a cheaper, less obstructive version of the same thing.
Oh, okay.
People are selling that like door to door too right now.
Yeah.
Oh, we should hop on it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm not gonna lie. A real big vision I have. Me and the Dosty Bros were talking about this early summer. Is the fact that one of these days the solar market, will dip. I think it's if the market hits like 50%, like solar conversion.
Well, they said it was going to dip.
They said that
It's
facts.
They said it did dip in April 2023.
Oh, they're capping.
So that was when the industry will continue to change.
Yeah.
And
My
but-
point is the sustainability is that I think the next move is to start a solar panel cleaning business so that you can make money off of things that are going to always need to be maintained. Kind of like the idea of what a barbershop is. People are going to always need their hair cut. You know what I mean? So you're never going to run out of business.
Yeah.
So people do window cleaning and pressure washing porches. And I'm like, I've actually met 2 homeowners in this entire valley that have their own solar panel cleaning business.
Yeah.
You know, and they also do gutters. They also do like maintenance. But it's like these 2 guys were in huge houses. They had vans with their faces on it, like a company. I'm like, wow, like the market is not huge, you know. It's not like there's a monopolized version of solar panel maintenance in yet.
Yeah. But then there's also the like what we sell comes with maintenance.
What?
You know, what we sell comes with maintenance.
You mean like workmanship?
Well, no, it comes with maintenance and repairs on the system.
I mean like washing them, just washing them,
Yeah.
like throwing water and soap on it. That's all I mean. Making
Yeah.
it look prettier.
Yeah.
Like there's window replacers and fixers, but then there's window cleaners. And I'm saying, I wonder what's the profitability of literally having like a solar panel cleaning monthly subscription.
I'm sure it's like 97% profit
That's what
because
I'm
all you
saying.
got to pay for is water and
That comes
soap.
from their house.
And
Yeah.
for the setters that struggle, I guess they could do that on the weekends.
That's literally already what we're trying to do. This dude, what do you have again?
I'm like a deionization tank.
Deionized water. There you go. I had a friend in high school that thought he was going to start a solar panel cleaning business. He never got it off, but he had his dad invest by buying one of those alkaline water deionizing filters. And he's like, it has to be this for the solar panel. I'm like, great, you got value. Now, like, where are your customers? And it's like, it could turn every already solar home, instead of trying to make, $1,000 on a true up, let's make $2,000, $3,000 for a yearly subscription to solar panel clean.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just pay your normal minimum to medium wage for guys to just go around doing cleaning jobs, Trying to think of that. I'm trying to figure out how to source that. It's definitely not a project that's happening right now, but I think that's going to be another like business. Like I want to try starting businesses. I do want to own real estate, but I'd like to try my hand, hopefully, in doing businesses. I hear it's riskier, but who knows? The profit might be more active.
Yeah. Anything risky is worth doing.
Yeah, right. High risk, high reward.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's like the future. Yeah, I can't worry about the future. It ruins the present. So yeah, I'm just excited to see like even just where the team is at now. I hope that the God will bless, and that 9 months from now, when I see my little baby, 1, I hope it's a boy. But 2, I just hope that our team has like 5 closers that have their own independent teams, and I could worry more about my child and the overall health of like a team than have to go sit and close deals. Even though there's more money closing deals,
Yeah.
it's not even about money like that anymore,
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's some vision that you guys have for this year that you're looking for?
I'm trying to make $1 million if I can.
That's your goal this year?
So like I've been kind of chasing that goal for like 3-4 years, but then like mistakes and bumps in the road happen to where it's like, oh, this isn't my year. This isn't my year. This isn't my year. And I'm getting sick and tired of saying this isn't my year. So like the most money I've made in solar is $500,000 in a year, and that was my second year in solar. That's like old news now.
Yeah.
I'm 5 years in, and I haven't beaten what I did my second year in the game. So it's like just trying to bounce back, because there's been so many industry changes too over the years since when I made that kind of money, that like it's just something I want to do. Like now at this point, like if I give up on it and like go into go off to something else, or like say I feel like it's always going to eat me away. Like that I didn't achieve that goal that I wanted to hit. So it's like whether it ends up being solar or something else, my goal is going to be I want to make $1 million in a year.
That's cool.
Like I want to be able to say I did that.
I have this question for both of you, because I think Clayson's made just around the same ballpark. I don't know the exact money you guys both made, but I've heard from both of you that you've made that much in a year. And so I'm wondering, what was the biggest difference from that year to others? Was it you were selling systems, making more money off one system sale, or was it the amount of people on your team Was it like the kind of leaders or culture you had? Do you remember like a distinct difference to that year of success? Maybe from you or your environment?
That's a good question.
I would say for me, it was the amount of people on the team, just like consistency. Because obviously, like out of every team, you're always gonna have like the ones that are consistently
Yeah.
producing. And I think with our team right now, once we have obviously a few more people, it's gonna start just the averaging numbers will start coming through, and I think naturally everyone's gonna start making more money. But yeah, I definitely think it's the numbers thing.
How many setters did you have
34
for you
Holy
or a
cow.
baseball cue?
baseball queue.
How many closers?
3.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Dude, that's like 10 per guy.
Yeah, we were.
How do you guys
killing it.
recruit these?
They were actually taken from New Sun, but
It was the Fresno office.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how that was happened. But
What's the story there? Give me a little tea time.
honestly, like I just barely came from Radix, and I loved it. Like it was just so different. Just like everyone was so rambunctious. You've seen their pod too. Like I think Ian and Brett. It was a cool office.
They have a pod?
Maybe not a pod, but like their recordings. You know, like how they're like they have someone following them around on the doors, just talking about their day to day.
I haven't seen it. Let's hit them up, and I need you to bridge the gap and collab. Get them here.
Okay.
You're the answer.
Can you bridge the gap?
I don't know about that. one.
Did you
Or
burn
is-
bridges with them? Where
No.
are we at?
No, I didn't. Like I think I've been hit up by some of them. You know,
Uh-huh.
I think they would just be shocked if I were to hit them up at this point. But I definitely don't think I'm in.
Do it for some content.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Do it for content. Don't do it for, hey, I needed you to join a new solar
Right,
company.
Right.
Say, come show your solar company over here.
That'd be cool.
I need to see their Instagram. I want to see. Let's
Yeah,
do
yeah.
some collabs.
Well,
Are they in Cali?
Yeah, Fresno still.
Oh, they're right up the street.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would say like basically right when I got there, I was with a different team, and there was a guy that had killed it that year. So I think he'd made like, I don't know, 6 something.
Who is it?
Koa.
Oh.
Koa Kane.
I hear his name a lot.
So he had killed it, and basically he'd called one of the dudes that was closing for me at Radix. We were in Texas, and he was like, "Hey man, like you got to come try this out." Boom. Then we went over there, and it was great. And I had been setting all year, so I was like really ready to start like trying to close, you know. And that's the only reason why I didn't want to leave, because I didn't want to have to like restart metrics, like just with a new, because now I have to show my, you know. So they made me set for like 2 months, and they were like, if you can get these 3 deals closed, you're going to be a closer. I was like, no pressure, right?
What sets you apart from all the other setters that were with them?
Honestly, I think they just liked me. Like, but I was setting well. Like, I came from an office that was doing really good numbers.
Were you like
And
number one
so-
producer?
I was a good producer, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was setting 4 a day, and
Solid.
at least 2 of them were closing, you know. So
Nice.
they were impressed early on, and then he said, you know, go close these 3 and you can be a closer. I called one of the closers that was just killing it, and I was like, just what do you say? Can you like send me a video? I just want to, you know. And then I just studied that all night, and then went and whacked the 3 deals, and then they put me in the queue. So that's how that worked. But then I'm finally getting like traction, and like I'm having like accounts close, and I'm like, dang, I'm gonna start making like really good money. And then
That feeling.
oh, it feels so good.
When you know it, like it's about to happen.
Yeah.
You're like, bro, I
'Cause
actually,
everyone talks about it.
yeah, you beat the Matrix.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And then Koa like calls me one night, and he's like, we're leaving, bro. And I was like, because I hadn't even been paid yet on like the stuff that I just put
Ooh.
in. So I was just
That's
like,
scary.
yeah. So I was like, dang. But at the same time, like he was the only one that had like actually been like, Clayson, like I want you to be like successful, and I want you, you know, like, and he was the one that was taking the time to like show me how to do this stuff. Like,
Was he the guy you called about how to close at night?
yeah. Yeah. And so I respected him for that, just because it was like, dang, like I don't think I would have ever like, you know, moved up without you like having my back on it, you know. So followed him, and yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And then I had made friends quickly going over there. And luckily, one of the kids that I was friends with had like 13 recruits. And from there, it was just kind of like those 13 kids obviously knew more of the other guys in the office too. And then they just kind of combusted and came to us. So,
Do you know why they left?
they loved Koa. I mean, obviously, he was made a lot of money that year and he was getting all their deals closed.
Why did Koa leave?
Hey, I don't know. I do know he regrets it though.
Why? 'Cause he can't come back?
Yeah, I don't think he can come back. But at the same time, too, it's just like he had a really good position. Like all he had to do was show up and close deals. Like he didn't have, and the money was just gonna come. That's all he had to do. But I think he was just getting like he wanted to be higher. He
was getting
wanted to
greedy.
be greedy. Yes, that's literally all it is.
Mm.
And so with that, like, yeah, I mean, luckily we had a good year with those guys, but a lot of times throughout that year, I remember him looking at me and just being like, "We shouldn't have left Rise." Like he'd always say that.
What do you think? What were the moments? Was it a leadership breakdown that was causing him to like?
Yeah, I would say like he realized that it actually is a lot of work to run this whole team, and Brett and Ian were the ones that were in charge of it before, and so, and I think at the time he felt like he was doing more than he was being compensated for.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back on it, then obviously he was like, yeah, no, this is so.
What's your journey after that? You're in Fresno with Koa, and how did you get all the way out to where were you? Illinois.
Well, from Fresno we went to Santa Clarita with Lumio.
And that's when you were here in Palmdale.
Yeah, that's when we did Palmdale, Lancaster.
But that was with Koa.
That was with Koa, and then we went to, basically we wrote it out with Lumio, and then they had stuff hit the fan, and then we pivoted to Solar Pros.
What do you mean they had stuff hit the fan?
Lumio had a a very big lawsuit where they were selling a lot of out of date panels and installing these panels that are like years and years old. They were actually obsolete, like panels that weren't working like at all, or at least that's what am I right?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that went on.
There's a huge lawsuit that listed all kinds of crazy things, and that's one of the crazy things is like
they weren't able to get. They were hundreds of $1,000s behind with paying their roofers. It was just.
How was it affecting you? What was directly affecting you?
Not getting installs in.
Okay.
Just because like
no funding or just not on the roof? No funding,
yeah, a lot of stuff, and we held out for 4 months. But the guys just weren't getting paid anymore, so it was like, we got.
Well, that's what happened with Gideon. I mean, he got a bunch of closes, and they just would not get on a roof.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could be litigation. I wonder how much is responsible from installers you work with, or is responsible with the brokers. Because I kind of see New Sun, right? Like we're brokers, but it really comes down to who we partnering with to do our paperwork on the install side. That's why BPS, dude, they're just so clutch. And that actually, that moment you're talking about where you're getting a bunch of closes and it feels great?
Right.
That happened to me. We switched from BPS to Legacy, and Legacy screwed everyone. And this was in 2023. We were in Menifee. My first week closing, I closed 8 deals. And I never shouted at anybody, never listened to anybody close. I just got to a point as a setter cab, I was just saucing it. I was like, I know what I need to do. I'd already clicked. I was like, oh, I'm just pulling back to the inspection and telling them, let's get these documents taken care of for you. And I was like, okay. And I told Vicky, well, I'm ready. I went and closed a deal for this guy named Josh McGo. Oh, my goodness, Josh. My bad, bro. Good guy. Josh, I want to say his last name's McGowan or something. But from Florida. And I closed that. And then I was like, yep, ready to take on my team. I had 3 guys already out. And so closed 8 deals in a week, 7 deals the next week, 8 deals again. But because it was Legacy, these were all in May.
It took 3 months to install and then another 2 months to fund.
Yeah, they didn't install till September, and I closed them in May.
Yeah.
So all my guys left.
I remember
Everyone
2023, I left New Sun to go to Solar Pros. By the time I got back to Solar Pros, a deal that I had signed in January of 2023 had just finally installed in like, I think it was July of 2024
Dude, that's crazy.
with Legacy too. It was a deal. It was like an add-on. It was right before add-ons stopped being a thing. And they took a year and a half to install.
Yeah. I remember, I mean, dude, Jordan Binning's a dog because they're so strategic with that. And so is Vic and Will because literally, like, Legacy figured out, like, once we, like, realized, like, they are really dragging their feet, we're not going to get paid. It was like, all right, we're going to switch back to BPS and figure something else out with Sunrun again.
But really, y'all are blessed with Jungle U, man.
Yeah.
Because, like, everybody else was, like, trying to find, like, the cheapest route to take. Like, whatever installer would give it cheaper than, like, they're trying to do everything they can to avoid going with BPS or
I don't know why,
everybody-
though. BPS is good,
Yeah.
no?
Like,
What do you think?
we were looking at, like, they would float from Sonova to this company to that company. Like, dude, my first 2 years selling solar, I can't, bro, there's so many different installers I sold for, and I'm sure it was the same thing under Brett and Ian, right? Like, we sold Legacy, V3. You remember Core?
I remember Core, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you got Core, and there's a couple other installers too that were around. That all these companies though fell apart in 2023. So I think all the bad apples are gone now, and everybody kind of knows who we can rely on and who we can't. And so like, BPS is the bread and butter, bro.
Dude, for real. They saved us, bro.
They're
I don't know
golden.
why we ever left BPS and went for
Because
Legacy.
people were trying to find
Cheaper?
they're trying to find cheaper pricing
true.
and make more money.
Because we were doing Sonova deals through Legacy, and I just remember, like, it was amazing. I was getting great EPCs, still
Yeah,
putting people.
because Sonova was great for the longest time.
I used to build the whole thing right
Yeah.
in front of them.
I was a Sonova
I
god,
loved
bro.
Sonova.
Like,
Loved
I
Sonova.
slung the hell out of
Yeah,
Sonova.
Sonova's the best. I would literally show people how much just in the EPC, and I would tell them my budget has to be like right here. See where that 5.5 and 6
See,
is?
I
Like,
don't do
have
that.
to be-
That's kind of crazy, but
But it's just, it almost makes them feel like they're making the decision in transparency, and I'm like, here we go. My budget for your home is like 5.5, so let's see if we can get as low as possible to 5.5. And it's just my EPC I was showing them on Sonova, but
it was cool though
You know?
too, because you could also play with the way you could design it versus selling with Sunrun, with Solo. Solo was so goated, and then you could also manipulate the EPCs by changing the shade report.
You actually showed me how to do that on Everbright. You started pointing out the shade report, and I was like, "What
Yeah.
does this affect?"
Yeah.
Oh, it affects $300-$500. I was
Per
like,
kilowatt.
per kilowatt. What the heck?
Yeah, bro.
I was like, why?
And people don't know too, and like, and then the site survey is a true tell-all.
Oh, I
but
know.
The financiers won't make you sign a change order for anything as long as it's within 3% of the production guarantee that they gave the customer. So say they estimate 7% shade on this array, right? And I bring it down to 5%, and my EPC goes up $300 a kilowatt. Like I'm not running a risk there because there's going to be no change order if I'm wrong. Right,
On the
like
shade
say
report,
they go back and like, no, it actually is 7%. Well, that's okay because I didn't bump it more than 3%.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does. It does. I had a really bad shade report come back recently, and the EPC dropped like $1,000.
I just got another recruiting video.
So So how are you going about doing that? Who are you sending these videos to? Where are you getting your funnel?
So I'm a beast when it comes to recruiting. Like I post like crazy. I reach out to people like crazy. Anywhere I go, I try and talk to somebody about the job. Like I went and played soccer last night and brought it up at the end of the game, right? And like just I remember I was buying a case of beer in Alabama, and this kid came in to buy a vape, and he just looked like a door-to-door guy. But I know in Alabama there's not a lot of door-to-door guys, so I'm like in there, I just looked at him and gave him this funny face, and I was like, "What do you do?" And he was like, "I'm a waiter at a restaurant." And I'm like, "Have you ever thought about sales?" And then he came out on 2 blitzes, and I sold like 10 deals with this kid.
Wow.
So
It's an energy thing. You
Yeah.
can almost feel their energy as
but
like a
then
confidence.
that kid he killed it at the job, but
Uh-huh.
then he ended up being like, man, this isn't for me. I'd rather be comfortable in Alabama. So he went back home, and I haven't been able to sell him to come back out.
Dude, I have like literally almost an exact story of this guy. He grew up here in Palmdale with my wife and some guys from her school. His name's Coda, and he came out. His parents are in Florida. He moved back, and he's just like a stoner, just total pothead. And he came out, and because Daniel Allen was like almost best friends with him, and he comes out, and literally within like 2 weeks, he got like 8 deals, and he literally like knew nothing, didn't even know the pitch, but he just knew how to sell. And his had the most fire, most solid deals. Then all of a sudden he brings a friend out, and then his friend is like, yeah, I'd rather go back to work in a gas station. And then
convinced him to go back.
And we come out in the morning to go for correlation, and both their beds are cleaned out and gone. They left in like the middle of the night.
That's such a shame.
And I was like, bro, I had a really good guy who had a bunch of potential, and he had just a ball and chain of a friend who was just a degenerate, and he literally won him over to go smoke pot and be a pothead with him in Florida again. And they said the same thing. I'd rather just go be comfortable at a gas station job. My parents have a house I can live in. I have no goals. I don't need to work hard to try to be something.
You know what? 10 years down the road, it'll be that I told you so kind of
Yeah,
thing.
they're going to look back
You know
and
what I
really
mean?
wish they'd have done something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, your
man.
parents don't live forever. They can't pay a room for you forever.
Yeah.
At some point, dude, you're going to have
They
your own
pass
house.
away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you got none left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
I really would I really would like to learn how to recruit how you're doing.
There's also like a couple tricks I have. Like for one, I'll find other solar companies on Instagram and I follow them, and then I just go through their followers list or whoever's following them and find who works for those companies, and then DM, hey, are you happy with your company? Hey,
You're
are
a
you
poacher.
happy? Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. But funny enough, for a minute I was trying to poach Jungle U. But then,
People?
but I have so much respect for the Silvas that I never ended up pulling the trigger on it. I think I talked to like 2 kids, and both of them were so loyal to their leaders that they're like, nah, there's no chance I'm leaving these guys. And then that's also what like made me feel good about coming to Jungle U too, because like everybody I tried to poach from here was like, piss off. Like, but all these other companies, they'd be like, oh yeah, and they'd entertain it, right? And so it not only just solar though, like finding like Vivint, Brinks, these security companies, these pest control companies. You follow all these companies and you go through their followers. 90% of them work or are currently working for the company or used to work for the company. And so there's always going to be you're going to find somebody who is not happy. But I also feel like hiring experienced reps is worse than hiring brand new guys who are new to door altogether, because you bring them, they end up being like kind of like groupies. They're little company hoppers that go around.
That's what I was about to ask you. I was going to
the
say,
solar
where's the
sluts.
risk? Yeah, where's
The solar sluts. They're solar sluts, bro.
That is fun. That's what I was going to ask you, man, because I try to only get fresh guys.
Yeah.
Only because
So, when I say like I go and do that, like all the guys I have recordings of right now that are doing their pitch interview with me, they're all brand new. They've never heard of solar before until I introduced them to it. Because in the past I have hired guys from other companies and they end up burning you, because they'll do the same thing that they did to the last guy, right? Somebody they have some success with you. You post them on on your social media, and then somebody DMs them and is like, hey, your boss isn't paying you enough. I can pay you more. The grass is greener over here. They do the same thing that I did to them. You know what I mean?
Is that what you sell them on? More pay or what?
No, I just try and figure out why they weren't happy. Like if you respond to my messages, you're probably not happy with your company.
Okay.
So, because I'm going to be like, I'll message, hey man, just checking in on you. Are you happy with who you're with? And if they say they're happy with who they're with, I don't go any further than that. But if they're not happy, I'm like, oh man, sorry to hear that. What happened? And then figure out what happened and be like, well, that doesn't happen over here. like kind of thing. It's not really about pay.
That's a good strategy, though.
It's not really about pay at all. Because
Yeah.
I feel like that's the same tactic everybody has is you're getting screwed. This company's penny pinching you and they're not paying you enough. They're pocketing your commission. And,
Yeah.
and every company has the same tactic about that, where it's like, well, who are your leaders?
Yeah.
How much did the top guy in your company actually make?
Yeah. That's huge.
Because that's one thing that really messed me up about Solar Pros is they only had one guy in the whole company make $1 million, and it was the owner of the company. And I remember when I left, the owner had called me, and he's like, "Yo, like, what's your deal?" And I'm like, "Dude, New Sun has so many guys that have made over $1 million bucks. Like this is the big leagues. Like I don't want to be a shark in a pond. I want to be a shark in the ocean, right?" And he's like, "Well, this is an ocean too." And I'm like, "Well, name how many guys last year made $1 million in your company." He's like, "Me?" I'm like, "You're the owner, bro. Like, come on, you know what I mean?" And nothing wrong. Like I think what Solar Pros is also doing is also great, but it's a very hard system to grow out of. It's a very hard system to grow out of because you're spending so much money out of pocket, and there's such a baby in the game right now.
That's huge.
They work. The baseline model works in markets where you have to sell low.
I don't know what the baseline model. I don't know what you mean.
So they instead of you having a red line where the company takes everything past this number, right? They do it like a 30%. So the company takes 30%. Your red line, there is no red line. So
It's just 30%.
yeah. So you start at like $1 a watt. So
Interesting.
you could sell a system for $3, which is what your red line is here, right? And you'll make more money at $3 a watt, but once you get to $4, $5 a watt, you're not making more money than you are at New Sun.
No way.
No.
Yeah, because they're taking a fat chunk.
Yeah, they're taking a huge chunk. And out here, to be able to cover the cost of batteries, you have to charge higher than that.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, at Solar Pros too, I've also noticed that all these kids are like basically they're just giving away solar panels. They're giving these dirt cheap systems to people.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to compete with their prices.
Yeah.
For sure.
But it's just because they're giving out, they have no skill. It's just...
They're putting solar pros up in Walmarts. I mean, they've got billboards all over the freeway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder what the investment, like, what they're getting back from that. That's a big thing I'm trying to figure out, like, how to market this team specifically, because I want to get my team deals in the area. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I get the name of the iron mill out as a solar? Do I need to do billboards? Do I need to just do Instagram
I would start with like a
ads?
tent. Like you could pitch a tent.
At a farmer's market?
Yeah, like a farmer's market.
I hear about that. Yeah, actually, that's how I got poached. Or I didn't get poached. You mentioned people trying to poach you. Someone's one and only attempt where I entertained it and getting poached was my first year. We were in Tracy, and Lacey and I took like a weekend to a farmer's market in Tracy and got some food. And I was so naive. Dude had a Sunrun shirt on, same thing we were wearing. I was like, "Hey, Jungle you?" And they were like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Jungle you, bro, you're wearing the same shirt." He could see I was so green. He's like, "Dude, no, we sell Sunrun, but we're not Jungle you." And he's like, "I own a warehouse in Stockton. I have panels everywhere." He's like, "We're actually going to the farmer's market right now. Come with me." And they had like a tent and people just coming up, writing out leads, but I see now in retrospect, like those are shoppers coming up to their little tent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he told me what a red line was and stuff. It's like, "I'll give you 2.8. And I didn't even know what a red line was. I was still a setter. I mean, I told Vic and Will, I was like, "This guy's doing this, this, this." He's like, "What was a red line? What did he say it was?" I was like, 2.8, whatever that is. He goes, "Well, Tom, I can't beat that. But the grass is not green on the other side. It's green where you water it." He said, "Go pray about it." When he said, "Go pray about it," I knew it was the right decision because
that's cool.
He kept God involved.
Yeah.
The other guy was just whining and dining me, and
making you feel good.
Yeah. I mean, he literally pulled me in a warehouse where they had like a roof for their installers to practice on. And I saw like thousands of panels and boxes and stuff. And he had like just this giant warehouse that he was running the company out of. And dude seemed like he it seemed like he had what Nolan's trying to do, where he had his own installer and stuff, but it might not have been at larger scale. I'm not sure, but I won't. Yeah, getting poached from that point, I was like, oh, they're just gonna try to sell me on a red line. Well, I know the red line's not what makes you rich, you know.
Yeah. No, it's definitely the system. Like,
Yeah.
it really goes to show, you know. Like I've seen, rather, there. I feel like there's only like a couple companies out there now that have survived this long, that have, like, you know, the grass has been cut, you know. So I don't know.
The opportunity's still here, though.
Yeah, the opportunity's still here. Newsom's just figured it freaking out.
Yeah.
We've just, and I've been blessed to be here since the beginning, too.
That's awesome.
And watch it grow, dude. It was so crazy. Like, even thinking back to, like, CJ Adamson was at the first blitz. Like,
With you?
yeah, like he was out there like training us
Where at, though?
in Bakersfield.
Bakersfield.
Yeah,
Man, I'm thinking about doing a blitz in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Seems like a really big town. Seems
yeah,
cool.
It was like at the beginning of COVID too. So like, you know, everybody was getting sick.
Everybody's home,
Yeah,
using their electricity.
yeah,
I remember that. And that's when I started door to door, but it was for remodeling construction. I never went to doors with a mask and stuff.
Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, don't worry, I'm vaccinated.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I used to say, don't worry, I'm normal. Like, don't
Yeah.
worry, I'm normal.
Or the big
I'm healthy.
go-to, like I remember when I was a setter, if somebody asked for a business card, I'd be like, oh, it's actually since COVID, it's been company policy not to hand anything out.
Ooh.
But then I'm still handing them the notice. You know what I mean?
That's a smart one.
Yeah, it sounds stupid. I know I'm at your front door and I'm inside of your house and we're 2 feet apart from each other, but I can't hand you anything.
That's savage. I love that. Yeah, solar was perfect timing. I'd sometimes wish I would have got in sooner, but I wonder if I would have been completely loyal to this company like I have been. Like, I'm just glad. And every time I see people come and go, they always kind of reinforce that this is the right company. So,
Yeah. Everybody
we're
I've
building.
seen that has left New Sun has ended up back.
yeah. Or at least
we were
wanting to come
talking
back.
about it earlier.
Yeah.
It's like kind of crazy. Like everybody thinks the grass is greener until they get on the other side of the yard, and then it's just dirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it never is.
It's
weird.
there's nothing there. It's like crap. I was wrong.
So are
And
you
to swallow
my
that
bad.
pride sucks. No, you're good.
I was wondering if you and Kyle are partners. Like, what's your
So-
who got you in, out, back, everything?
What do you mean?
Well, are you and Kyle partners right now?
Yeah, but we're breaking things up next year. Just cause for myself, I want to be able to like focus on growing myself, and I feel like I was a little bit too selfless over this last year, and I took the pressure of everybody around me's success on my own. Like I made it my responsibility to make sure Kyle was successful, right? And I also made it my responsibility that all these other guys were successful, but it's not my responsibility to make sure they go out there and do what they're supposed to do. Like, you know, Kyle and all these people have the same.
Yeah.
And the reason why we partnered up in the first place is because I needed a partner at Solar Pros. Like, same thing when he left with Koa, right? Like, they'd never done it all on their own. And so, like, I needed somebody to do it with me. And Kyle had just moved up to a closer the year before. And I was like, hey, man, like, I need a right-hand man. And he was like, I'll follow you. Like, you recruited me. You know, you trained me from setter to closer. You know, I'll go whatever you want to do. Let's do it. And so we left and went to Solar Pros, and we were splitting all the costs together. And that's what was kind of like making our partnership, is we were splitting the cost and everything. I did all the recruiting, and we kind of both did the training together, training all the recruits, but mainly I was doing the recruiting, and all I needed him to do was, you know, create relationships with the guys and help develop the guys with me. And he did a great job of doing it. But then when you come to Jungle U, the system at Jungle U is like, it's designed to where you don't need a partner because everyone's your partner.
It's facts.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you've got an army of people at the same level of you as you. Like, that's part of the reason why I needed Kyle, is because, like, I didn't have anybody else at the same level as me. So I'm like, hey, you know, let's build something together. But now that we're here, we both made it. You know what I mean? So it's like, now, hey, I want you to be, because the biggest hurdle I think we had this year is splitting appointments. He would get into a rut where he'd get like a ton of failed credits in a row, where it makes it really hard to figure out how to fairly break up the appointments between the two of us.
You guys are like baseball queuing between each other?
No, like it would just be like, I go to this appointment, you go to that appointment. Okay, I've had 3 appointments this week. You know, the next 3 are your appointments. Just make sure it's as fair as we possibly can.
Just split it 50-50.
50-50 all the way down the board. But
Interesting.
after a while, I realized the effort wasn't 50-50 because I felt like I was doing a lot of training and stuff like that. And I could be wrong, too, at the same time. He could have been putting in the work. I just didn't see it. But I feel like with the way Jungle U has everything set up, you know, also on Kyle's part, Kyle felt like he didn't have any time to shine because every time he would get to a certain point where like, oh, he's about to have a really good week. Well, you just had the last 3 appointments. Now it's my turn to go the next 3.
Interesting.
So, you know, now he's got more responsibility over his own guys and has the opportunity to shine more. Whereas with us being partnered, both of us are shining less.
I agree with that a lot more.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I like Jungle Youth. It's like you have to build a team, and it has to be your team. And I've just found like anything close to a baseball queue, it can get murky, you know, because then
the only partnership I've ever seen work is the Silvas. You know?
Yeah,
And they
or
don't
Keyshawn
count.
and Trey. I think that's a good. Well, I don't know. All I'm saying, here's how I've set it up: is my dream is that we get ourselves like a small organization here,
Yeah.
and everybody becomes accountable for their own recruits, and we split up into teams, just like
Yeah.
the Jungle U, because it worked for Jungle U. Because it's like that. If you do baseball, the guys who are kind of slowing down, they're just gonna want to feed off of the top guys.
Well,
reps
this is
and-
the analogy I have for it.
Let me hear.
It's kind of like a school project, right? Like
that's
say you have a group project with a bunch of kids in school, and I'm sure we've all dealt with it where like there's that one kid in the group that's the overachiever, and then the other guys in the group don't do any work on the project, but everybody got an A+.
Right.
But that one kid did all the work,
Yeah.
you know?
I feel your weight because I like the Jungle U's. Like, look, if you recruit them, they're yours. And so I just try to build a vision for our guys. Get from setter to setter cap. When you're at setter cap, find 3 dudes that you recruit. Be a closer for yourself. Build a team.
Yeah.
You can have a partner along the way, but at the end of the day, it does feel better. Like, if these are my recruits, I'm going to touch their deals because these are guys that I have brought out, taking the risk on. And I think the partnership me and Gideon have done with Clayson has been great because what I try to set up is like it's called priority, where Clayson's got recruits, Gideon's got recruits, he's got his brother Keenan, I've got recruits. So everybody, when their sets on the board, we hit our recruits first.
Yeah.
But then if we can't get to one because of a time,
Then you can assign it. That's basically what me and Kyle are doing this year.
It works
for
well.
this next year. So it's
Yeah.
like, say his setters aren't doing the job for him, but my setters are going above and beyond, and I can't hit everything. Well, hey, you go to these 2.
and
You
he
know?
just get the
Get the job done.
The
For
overflow.
it. Make sure that, because at the end of the day, like I can worry about how much money I'm making, but if my guys aren't making any money and they don't have the same opportunity that I had when I was a setter, then it's not going to last very long anyways.
Right.
So you have to have this abundance mindset that it's okay that I'm not taking every single deal, right? Like, so, you know, we're still going to be working together and feeding each other a little bit, but it's going to be a little bit different to where there's more responsibility, but it's also going to give him the opportunity to shine and me more of an opportunity to shine too. So I'm like really looking forward to this year.
That's great, dude. And what I've found is quality over quantity is always the better route. And that really, if you have 5 quality guys that are high producing, it's almost impossible. It's like the brink of what you can handle as one dude.
Yeah.
Once you get past 5 quality guys, you're going to need another guy to bear the load. And so,
Well, it's kind of like that Italian, the big fat Italian guy you see. There's a video of him where he's like, all you need is 3 badass motherfuckers.
is that from The Sopranos?
Yeah, I think so. Or whatever his name is. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
though, right?
I think that is what you're
all
talking
you
about.
need is 3 badass motherfuckers and you can take over the whole world. Right?
Yeah.
Like
A few good men.
the year I made $500,000 was I had like a 5-man team.
See, that's what I was wondering. Clayson, you said it was like 30 guys. You guys did really well.
Right.
But you
Yeah.
were just 5 solid producers.
Yeah, and I think also what helped is all of the guys that I had recruited when I was a setter. So they watched me get promoted. So it's like, and they seen what is actually possible and what I was able to do. And so like, it just gave them much more motivation to where now I've been a closer for so long that like I can tell people about what I achieved when I was a setter, but like they didn't actually see me do it. So they don't know if it's actually possible, so now I've got to create somebody for them to look up to.
Exactly.
And that's the only way I'm going to kill it.
Do your setters ever ask you or ever doubt your capability as a door knocker? That
But
happens.
That's why
Ooh.
you see me.
Yeah.
That's why they call me the self-gen king.
Yes,
You know
I
what I
love that you self-gen king. You call yourself the self-gen king.
Yeah, I do.
Bro,
I
come
do.
on. I was about to say, I know who gave you that name, bro.
Um,
It's fire, though.
but yeah.
I don't self-gen, but I do shadow them, and I'll just do a door or two for them. And sometimes I'll just get a straight solid set for them and be like, all right, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I do that too. So like sometimes I'm just doing it for myself for the commission, and then sometimes it's like I'm helping the guy get some morale and get the ball rolling for himself. And then, hey, you see how easy that was?
Exactly.
Now, I'm gonna go close that for us. You go get me 2 more. You
Yeah,
know?
the biggest thing is seeing to believe when it comes to setting.
Yeah.
But they got to see it once. And I think a lot of things we have new guys come on, they have no self-confidence and they want to shadow for like
Way too long.
way too long. It's like, bro.
I only shadowed for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
My first day, and then I was like, I'm sick of watching you.
They
make
made
money.
me do it a
Right.
whole day, but after like 30 minutes, I was like, bro,
Yeah.
I was like itching.
I started chiming in and stuff.
That's
You know what I
crazy.
mean?
That's funny. Oh, man.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like I can always tell if a good setter is going to do well when he can't wait right after the shadowing session to do it himself. But when they're like, oh, I need another day, I'm like, great. Like this probably isn't already for you. I can already tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost a 9 out of 10.
That's kind of how I recruit too. Is like same way as how we sell. We're like, this is a great product. It's great, but I don't know if you qualify. It's the same thing. It's like, you could come out here and this could change your life. It could be the most amazing thing in the world, but you could come out here and ruin your life too. Like real quick. That's the reality check. I feel like a lot of recruits don't give to these people is like, you come out here and you don't perform, you're digging yourself in a hole because now you just spent the last month not making any money and you just moved halfway across the country.
Yeah, tell me about
You
it.
know what I mean?
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
We've been having a lot of
We
fun
have.
with some interesting recruits. And at the end of the day, it's all leadership and training. I've seen bad recruits turn good, even if it takes a little bit.
Yeah, I never give somebody the shadow of a doubt because I've seen the weirdest looking dude.
Yeah.
Like be like, there's no way this guy's gonna kill it, and then that weird ass kid ends up
pulling
being
him
like,
out.
bro,
That's what Nolan
Ballin'.
preaches.
yeah,
That kid, I don't know if you saw him, that kid Keenan that like dapped you up. You saw, man, like, I mean, if you had to line everybody up and pick like the most likely to least likely, like,
Yeah.
bro, he's not, I don't think he's on the top of the list, but right now he's our number 1 setter all year. He's gotten the most deals. Or actually, no, Luke's gotten the most deals. I take that back.
yeah,
But if it was like he's a setter cap now, so now let's actually go back down to the amount of setters. He's our best setter. And what's crazy is guess who recruited him? This kid.
yeah.
So it took him getting recruited by the number 1 guy to literally become the number 1 guy.
yeah.
I literally think
That's the value of it. is
Exactly.
He watched somebody do it, so he knows it's possible.
yeah, and that's his mentor. That's who he gets advice from.
Yeah.
That's who he gets he has an example to follow as literally number 1. And so the kind of kick in the pants he gets from, his recruiter is literally from the number 1 guy, and it shows. And then the other guys who get brought out by low producers, they don't produce anything.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. I think we need to, like as leadership, take it more on the reins for us to be bringing out people and having the conversations, not really relying on people that are inconsistent, just because we could pick it out a lot better as far as, because I think about the people I've personally recruited,
Yeah.
like, not that I just came here with, but personally recruited, like reached out to, and those ones have produced. And so
Sergio Cage.
Sergio Cage,
Yeah, I won't lie. You guys coming out here was a big, it wasn't big in person, it was big behind scenes because, again, Gideon only had his brother here, and Gideon didn't even recruit Keenan. His brother did. And so I told Gideon, I was like, I want you to grow, but I want you to grow as a closer, as a leader. I want you to bring out recruits for yourself before you start bringing out a guy. I'll just be transparent. Gideon, I hope he is cool with me saying this, if he even listens this far in a podcast, so it might be safe. But I literally told Gideon, I was like, how are you going to bring out another closer with more recruits than you and expect him to respect you? That's what I said. I was like, if I came out, you have 2 recruits. The other guy who's on the team has 5, and I'm bringing out 5. I would not see you as my leader. I would see you as below me. And that's because when it comes to business, I respect performers. I'm like, I've been taught to be respect based on performance, not looks, not speech, not how you know the guy. What is his production like? What does his recruits do? What's his performance? You're a high performer. And so I was like warning Gideon, like I was like, I don't want there to be like a hierarchy issue. And it didn't matter. He went straight to Vic and Will. Just brought him out anyway. Thankfully, by God's grace, totally worked out. You were solid. And I liked you. I thought you were solid. I was literally being selfish and worrying about Gideon's growth. But you've seen Gideon he has his 2 guys, which are literally amazing producers. So him and Keenan make up for like 4 guys. And then he just gets a bunch of overflow for us. But I have seen, once that happened, I was like, fine. I was like, if I have no say in who you bring out whoever you need to. I'm just going to make sure our whole team runs by a standard, and we'll let guys come and fall. Right. Unfortunately, all the people who have done bad are only the people I haven't interviewed personally, because I feel like I do like to vet people, and I like to see that. I want to see, like, do you really have what it takes, or are we just bringing out bodies? Like, are we just bringing out bodies, or are we bringing out quality?
Yeah.
And the people that we just brought out just because have all not gotten a single deal left. But then the people we brought out, like Clayson, who Gideon personally knew, and then he brought out Cage and Sergio, who he personally had invested in. Those guys all did amazing, you know. But these other guys, we kind of struggled because we just brought them, didn't vet them, didn't care, just thought, just because there is more people, it's going to work itself out. All it's really done is given us apartment debt, headaches, drama queens, guys who can't afford.
Start looking at people like money signs, and it ends up all kind of crumbling.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. It's like you got to have people not just like, can they make us money? It's like, is this someone who actually is going to be an asset and a good character to be meshed with our team that will believe in what we believe in? Yeah. You can't just expect someone to magically want this. Like when you throw free housing up there, almost anybody will jump on board. And then when they realize, like you just said, this job's not for me, well, you can't even afford your plane back home.
Yeah.
Then we're in a big trouble.
Yep.
So I think this year, like being able to find quality, and then when we do get quality, have that personal investment, but also it being a whole team effort where guys are responsible for their guys. And right now, my mentor gave me a really good book called Extreme Ownership, where just when it comes to he says there's no bad teams, there's only bad leaders. So whatever happens on the team, we have to take full responsibility for all the bad. And then all the good, give the good to the reps on what they did well. So we're practicing that. And, you know, it's not a finished product. It's all working, but honestly, it's all been working pretty well so far. But I'm just thankful we have really good guys where when we do bring a couple of bad eggs, they don't bring down the whole ship.
Yeah.
So thankfully, we have some really, really solid dudes.
Actually, something I learned from a guy at Solar Pros, his name's Josh Holland. Mm-hmm. He's got like probably the best division at Solar Pros, arguably, I would say, and one of the fastest growing. Those 2 twins. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, the Kendall twins. Yeah. So basically, his rule is if you just focus on the top 20%, the rest will just handle itself. So you focus the bottom 80%. Don't even bat an eye at them. But if you just focus on your top guys, those top guys will focus on everything else that trickles down. It'll all trickle down to where that top guy learned from you that you focus on the top 20%, and then he's going to focus on the top 20%. And then that guy's going to focus on the top 20%. And then eventually 100% is focused on. You know what I mean? So, you know, that one has always hit me hard because he's a really good leader, I will say. Solar Pros does have a lot of good leaders over there.
That's
It's
good.
just the system is hard to grow in.
Man, well, that's awesome. I'm glad to have an example like you guys to
Yeah.
just rub shoulders with just so many
We're
amazing
not the
leaders,
only
man.
Solar Pros guys you've had in here.
Really?
Will Kirtley
Oh
too.
my goodness, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a whole story he gave us.
Oh man, I wanted.
Did
them
you listen
do-
to that podcast?
No, I didn't. Just because it kind of upset me because at the time it's like his first couple weeks at the job with Jungle U, and it's like a week or two in, and all of his reps are kind of struggling, and then I see out of nowhere that he's on a podcast 2 hours away from where we work.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
I was very not privy to any of that, dude.
But he didn't tell you. You know, you didn't know.
No, I
It's
didn't
not
know.
your fault. And he would have done it either way. Like, he would have found something else to waste his time doing. But it wasn't the concept that he came all the way up here to do the podcast. Like, that, there's nothing wrong with that. It was that, like, bro, you're not focusing on your guys, and your guys are, like, texting me asking for help, and you're supposed to be their leader, and I don't want to take that crown off of the top of your head, and now your guys are looking at you with ridicule, right? And now you're not their leader because I've taken your place. Like, you're supposed to be here for them. And it got to a point to where, like, he wasn't taking leadership very well from me or Buckland, and we kept trying to tell him things. He just would go in one ear and out the other. He'd be like, okay, cool, and then just go back to doing the same thing. Or, you know, there's multiple times him and his other closer that I recruited, bro, I wanted them to do well so bad, so bad, but I'd catch them at the apartment like 24/7, and it's like at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 p.m. at night, prime time, and they're in the apartment.
That's tough.
You know,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been doing this 5 years, and if my setters aren't putting up appointments, I am going to self-gen.
You got to be with them.
Yeah.
I think if I have no appointments to that, I'm usually driving out looking for
Yeah.
the guys that are the low producers, and I'm hopping on doors with them.
My guys all see my location. So
Yeah.
if they see me at 6 o'clock at the apartment, but then I try tomorrow, I see them at home at 6 o'clock, and I try and tell them that they shouldn't be doing that, what are they going to think out of me?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then also psychologically, if they know I'm right down the street, something makes them pop off a little bit more knowing I'm right around the corner.
Yeah.
You know, oh, my site specialist is literally right around the corner. I can have him swing by at 6 o'clock. You know, then same day opportunities show up, stuff like that. And, you know, I tried to stress a whole lot of stuff. And I don't know what they're doing now. I hope they're doing well. I know Colton's doing well. I don't know what Will's doing. Will hates me at this point, but I'm not the one who actually fired him. Buckland was like, you know what? You haven't listened to us and any of the instruction we give, and I don't like it anymore. And, you know, if you're not going to listen to me, then you need to leave. And then Will was like dumbfounded by it. But it's like, dude, I don't know how many different instructions we tried to give you, and you blatantly like did the opposite of what we tried to guide you to do. And it's like all we had was his best interest in heart too. You know,
Interesting.
when you post this, blurt out his name if you can.
I can't.
All right, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh well.
I don't know.
He's
Don't
not
worry
gonna
about
watch it.
He might. He's watched a couple.
Oh really?
I'll tell him. What I'll do is I'll text him and I'll say, here, I need you to watch this timestamp. Andrew shouted you out. Just kidding, bro.
No.
Don't worry about it,
Love
bro.
you, Will Curley.
Nah, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. I just want to know in a situation like that. I actually did ask. I asked Buckland. I asked him. I was like, just want to know what's your rationale to fire somebody, because I always want to know, like, what lines are when is a line crossed that they are no longer an asset to the team. They're cancer. I've had to fire a couple reps who weren't like the worst guys attitude wise, but they were infecting the team.
Infectious, yeah.
Exactly. And they only cared about themselves. And
That's
it
what it was,
hurting morale. People literally could not laugh and enjoy themselves or even have a positive mindset in the job because this person's struggle or their own ambition was just shadowing everybody. And it was hurting. It was hurting people.
Yeah.
And then it came back to the fact that like a lot of times when reps do bad, they start like punching up to the leaders and start throwing leaders, and then there's a gossip chain of leaders. That's where, for me, it's really I mean, that's why people leave at the end of the day. It's always a leadership issue.
I think for Buckland, it was a character thing.
Yeah.
It had nothing. He didn't. At one point, Will did kind of cross the line. Like it was like we blatantly told you not to do this, and then you did it anyways, and it was like it's very detrimental to his own success. And it's like at this point, I don't know how much guidance we can give you, and you just blatantly disobey it, or not really disobey, just ignore the advice we're trying to give you. But the way Buckland explained it to me is like all I heard out of this kid's mouth was me. And to Buckland, it's so unheard of for him to see that, because all the leaders around care about, like, bro, I'm sure you're the same as me. Like, you care about your setters so much, like they're your own kids. You know what I mean? You want to make sure they have food in their fridge and stuff like that. Like, he only cared about putting food in his own fridge. You know?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah,
that red Tesla
almost brings this full circle, because there is that balance. Remember how you guys said, like, some people reflect on their parents being too strict, and or I want parents that aren't not strict at all, and they just let me do whatever I want. Same thing for guys, bosses. You know, like I have guys that emotionally respond better to feeling like they can do whatever they want, and I have guys who emotionally respond better to having like a very cut system.
Yeah.
And
I know exactly what you're
that's
talking
a
about.
hard
or
thing
like
to-
the guy, like, there's two different ways you can react to something. You'd be like, you're being a bitch, work harder, or it's okay, you know, maybe tomorrow. And like, I was the kind of guy who, if you called me a bitch, I'm about to go out there and prove you wrong.
I'm the same way. That's a sports thing.
But then there's also the same kind of guy who reacts to that in the most negative way possible.
Right.
And he's like, I cannot believe this guy just called me a bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's the thing, is that I've never, I haven't gotten to the point where I'm cussing at the guy, but at the same time, it's like when a setter's leaving work early and they're driving themselves like
brother, it
home,
irks me.
happens all the time. Yeah. And, or like when a guy just doesn't show up, or without even communicating it to me, he just doesn't show up. You know, it's like, if like, tell me you're sick, communicate to me for accountability purposes. And then when I got to tell him, like, you even got to tell him, like, hey man, we just need you, you know, we need you here. Or what bites me the most is I don't say anything to him, and I ignore it. It gets like a really, I don't know.
There's a leadership saying for this too. It's,
what is it?
Bash in private, praise in public.
Oh, that's a good one.
So
Yeah.
I learned that from Russo.
That's great.
And so it's like, if you've ever got anything negative that you need to say to your rep, where it's like they've stepped out of line, you do it privately, just you and that person.
Yeah.
And if it's something where they've stepped out of line, or if it's something that they're doing great on, you know, you praise them in front of everybody, because it makes them feel super special.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to focus on a lot. That's what the Iron Mill social media page I'm trying to use for.
Yeah.
Make everyone feel like they have a spotlight and they have value on the team by being on the social media. The only way I would bash in public is like, say something went down and like there's just repeated offense. Let me think of
I think the best
one.
way to do it is like inadvertently, like Chris Adamson talks. He'll tell you he does this. So like, say he notices a guy's at home, he's not just gonna call that guy out in the group chat. He's gonna be like, "Yo, like, if you're not working right now, just know deep down inside, like, God's watching," and he, you know, like, kind of like making that
indirect.
It's indirectly
Yes.
making that person feel guilty as hell.
That's what I've done, and I'll like indirect. I'll say it's like a general statement. The guys are going to do the best, or the guys who do this, and the guys are going to struggle, or the guys who do this.
Yeah,
it's very general.
Yeah,
and only one time by one person has come up to me after, and he's like, "Man, I don't appreciate that you call that out, because I feel like that was an issue." Yeah, you're calling me out. I was like, "Well, look, dude, I don't think
like
any." Yeah, I was like, nobody knows that. That's between me and you.
Yeah.
I never named your name. I was like, but this is kind of like when you're in church and you feel like the preacher's talking to you. Right. It's because you throw a stone into a pack of wolves, the one it hits is the one that yelps. And so, like, if you're coming to me feeling like you feel some type of way, it's a very general statement that's just truth. And if that hits you like that, dude, That's just a simple call that everybody needs to understand. Like, this is what's going to work. And I want you to just do well, but I'm not going to embarrass you. But if you take offense to an objective fact like that, dude, like you're just finding someone to blame at that point. It ain't me holding you back, dude.
Yeah.
But it's the praise that goes miles more than any of the discipline. So I think
when you get it down, like I remember Rat Travis told me he's only ever had to do that like twice, like ever.
Like call out in a group chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why the partnership with me and Kyle was so good is because I struggled with, I would get so angry so quick and be like, what are you doing? You're taking advantage. And it's not the best way to lead at all.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson the tough way. And then Kyle was also my mediator.
Yeah.
Like, hey bro, don't lose your cool right now.
Yeah.
You know, the people are watching.
When we talk about a group chat, I did once, and I definitely learned the hard way. One time I responded directly to a setter, and I disagreed with him and told him how I feel like it should be done. It was leaving early. Yeah. And I think this guy did the Chris Adamson way where he said, hey, no, I think he did it more directly. He's like, hey, look at this guy. He just got to set at 7 o'clock. Look at all you guys. You guys left the doors early. You know, he's got to stay out later. And then the other guy, guess what his response was? He was like, oh, I got a child. I got other responsibilities. I'm not staying on the doors this late when there's this much danger out here. And he just defended himself. I'm like, what a fixed victim mentality.
Yeah.
And then I literally sent a paragraph, and I was like, and then everyone started building on it, laughing at Luke for encouraging people to work later. And I was just like, everybody shut up this boohoo stuff. I was like, you need to stay on the doors and work your best because that's the only thing that's going to fix any problem. I was like, this group chat is not for whining and giving reasons to not work. And I was like, I applaud Luke, and somebody should have stood up for him by saying the facts that you got to stay out late to get good deals. And 7 o'clock is not even late. And then
that's early.
Huh?
That's early.
Oh, it's early.
Yeah.
Yet everybody.
That's when the vets who feel like they've got it figured out, they're like, all I got to do is show up from 6 to 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's when they show up.
And the response I got from the group chat was bad. Everybody laughed at me for saying that. And then that's when I just realized real quick there's a culture issue here. Because nobody believes that it's early to leave before 7. Everybody thinks that there is a reasonable excuse. And the only way to change that culture wasn't by calling out leaving early. It was by praising guys who stayed out later.
Yeah.
And so that's actually when those Batman videos started to come out with Liam. As I started releasing those videos of him staying out late.
Yeah. To
encourage people to just stay out later. Unfortunately, I mean, we were releasing those on a slump that he had, but nonetheless, it's all a learning process, which again, I think being a dad is going to be, is I'm going to say, what were the conscious things my dad did to positively reinforce us? What did my dad do that made me fall in love with sports, want to be a leader, want to love God? And I want to try to mimic that. And that's the hardest thing, because positive reinforcement has to come from love. You can't really fake that. So, well, at least maybe you can, but they can definitely tell it's disingenuous. So trying to find real ways that a setter feels like you've just gone out of your way to show them value and appreciation. It's got to be done strategically. And again, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Williams. That's what I'm listening to. It's a super, super good book. No bad teams, only bad leaders. So I want to be a good leader, man. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard, though.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a while. I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, same thing with trying to be a father. You know, you're always going to be trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we are running past the time. Do you guys know what time it is? It's 4. Yeah. 4:10.
Oh, holy cow.
It's been a minute. So, dude, this has been awesome. A podcast. I cannot wait to listen back to this. We're going to have some fire clips out of this thing.
Cool.
And thank you for joining, Andrew. Thank you, Clayson.
Yeah.
Can't wait for round 2, bro. We're going to have this again soon, yeah?
After we make a meal.
Yes, sir. Bring Kyle on. I want you to come back, but have Kyle with you.
Yeah.
That'll be sick.
It'll be cool because I just talked about how we're splitting up this year, experimenting with things, and so to see how successful we both are next year. Because now the biggest thing is that we wanted to have competition between the two of us.
Yeah.
To where we can compete. Because it was I'd hit this point, and it'd be okay, well now you got to step back so that I can shine. You know what I mean? So now it's it'll be a lot more interesting. It's
Yeah,
gonna
friendly
be fun, yeah.
competition that just breeds growth. That's
Yeah.
again, that's what I hope the Iron Mill is. I want Team Clayson, Team Gideon, Team Luke, Team Thomas. I want
I think
team
that's when I'll
closers.
start really making money.
I agree.
Yeah.
The comp.
Yeah, all these guys. And that's, I mean, you saw it on stairs. That slugfest, just finally, that's just what gets the gears moving. That's what gets them excited.
Yeah.
They feel like there is something I'm going to earn over the other guy because I worked harder and I want to be better. Anyway. All right, peace out. Show me the big camera. Thanks again. All right. We're done wrapping it up. Goodbye.